We are at the winter bracket championship in the men's major right now. And we got Resmondo, who snuck past the 45s 2-0 in the game we showed. 45s actually had more scoring chances in that game. They left about 11 or 12 guys on base. But the problem is they only had about 4 or 5, 6 hits in the entire ball game, and they couldn't push one across. Flashback looked good. They handled March, who's still alive in this tournament. So we're getting down to it, and one of these teams will be in the national championship game. One of them will have to go play the get-back game. So neither of these teams can finish worse than third place. We are in a double elimination tournament. So Flashback will be the visitor, Resmondo on the field. And there's Will Russ, so apparently they're done streaming. How's that women's game go?
It was 5-5 going to the 11th. No, they just walked them off. The Hangovers walked off the Lady Rebels 6-5.
So Hangovers walk off Lady Rebels if you were watching that stream in the bottom of the 11th.
Great crowd over there, George.
Huh?
Great crowd over there, Gio. It's cool to see a lot of the former teams, the teams that got knocked out, staying around.
So great crowd watching the women's game, and park is jam-packed. Will Russ, Flashback wins, he'll probably be on the mic again before they come back. I did ask the Resmondo players if they could do us a favor and lose a game, but they all chuckled as George Bliss had to attend a family function and is not here today, so we're a little short-staffed on the broadcast. So we're doing the best we can. So Flashback will go Brian Kearns, Danny Dispenza, and Justin Smykowski. Wind kind of blowing out on this diamond, and no shade here on the field, so let's hope the camera doesn't overheat. And Brian Kearns, and that goes off the pitcher, and he'll beat that out. Brian Kearns went right up the middle. Clark got a glove on it. Short center, Bazat did the best he could. Brian Kearns, the lefty, flying and bring up Danny Dispenza. And Danny goes toward the gap, and that ball drops in. Kearns is going to go to third. Corey Briggs had a problem, and Kearns is going to score from first. So Flashback an early 1-0 ball game here, as Danny Dispenza dropped a hit in front of the center fielder. Kearns running all the way. Briggs had a little trouble with the ball, and Dispenza a double, and here's Justin Smykowski. And Smykowski, little ground ball, little fumble, and Dispenza holds the bag. So that ball bounced right over the base. Looks like Bazat had a little trouble. He might have been anticipating the ball maybe hitting the base, fumbled it. Flashback up 1-0, runners on the corner, nobody out here. That brings up Mike Manzella. Of course, Flashback has been the best, most consistent team this year. They lead the Chicago Summer Series point standing for teams. They've won 2 events, finished second, and they got a third. This, of course, the 5th leg. And Joe Piscitelli on deck. And Manzella walks to load him up with nobody out. Manzella flipped the bat away. He was chomping at the bit to get a swing, and here's Joe Pitt. Of course, now, offensively, the way the wind's blowing here, it's a good hitter's day to hit. Low humidity. Clark struggling. He had a pitch with a wind in his face, and Joe Pish hits it deep. Smykowski, he's going to go. They may try to double tag. They hold him there. Flashback a 2-0 lead. And that's a good ball. Justin got a little too much air on it, or Pish got a little too much air under it. But he did drive the left fielder back. Both runners advance, and here's Joey Agardo. So 2-0 Flashback early here, top of the first. And Joey Agardo sweeps it into right field. One run's going to score, and they'll hold Manzella at third. 3-0 Flashback as they jump up early here. Here's Anthony Stacy, still only one out here. Joey Agardo, again, wind blowing out. This is as deep as we've seen the Resmondo outfield play. And there he tops one. A little trouble. Bases are going to be loaded. So that ball took a bad kind of a hop up on Bubba Mack. Couldn't make the play here. So the bases loaded, one out, and here's Ryan Russ. Left fielder Josh Riley creeping in a little bit, but with the wind blowing out, like I said, this is the deepest. This is the most yardage we've seen from the outfielders to the Resmondo infield all weekend.
Yeah, he's way back.
So Ryan Russ now, still only one out here. Flashback a chance to really put a crooked number up here. So Resmondo really hasn't trailed. When they have, it's been by a couple of runs. And they usually have come back hard, and they're going to score runs with the wind blowing out. So if you're Flashback here with the bases loaded, you need to take advantage. And there's a little high flare. That'll score one. He'll throw it to third. 4-0. Brings up John Zawoski now. Joey Agardo will be running on the swing, as will Anthony Stacy. So Flashback, a very early 4-0 lead here. A long way to go in this one.
You're all right, buddy. Not too much.
Resmondo, when you think about slight advantages, their dugout is in complete shade with the rug. Half of Flash's dugout is in the sun. If they sit down, they'll be in the shade. And that's a little high. Mike Meyer on deck. And Zawoski delivers a hit. One run is in. Stacy's going to score. Zawoski, the double into the alley. 6-0 Flashback early. So John Zawoski just sat back. And that's interesting because they're playing deeper. That ball was hit hard to the gap where they were playing earlier in the tournament. That ball would have actually been more than a double. So here's Mike Myers, Flashback an early 6-0 lead. Resmondo is yet to hit. That'll be foul, not by much. And we talked yesterday when Flashback played Chucks that they have what we would call a big boy offense. Got a couple of good sticks on the bench as well. So they have a lot of flexibility and what they can do with Julian Gutierrez and Steph McLaren, Denny Lawler, Shane Lawler. And Mike Myers takes that pitch a little deep. Mike, the 10th hitter of the inning, with their pitcher, Mike Marasovic, on deck. And Myers a little flare to center, but Briggs is there. But Flashback comes out of the gate hard, took advantage of a couple of fumbles, pushed 6 across. Resmondo coming to bat. So here comes Resmondo. A lot of game to go here. And, of course, they got some big hitters in their lineup. So I don't think they're going to fold up the tent and go home quite yet. So if you're Flashback, you'd like to maybe get a goose egg and ride that momentum. They will have Mike Marasovic leading off, and it wouldn't surprise me if they get a goose egg here if maybe they didn't pinch it and try to roll up another big inning in the second, heading into the top of their lineup again. So it's going to be Josh Riley, Kyle Pearson, and Jason Matusik. And again, we've seen Resmondo have pretty good innings. So, like I said, they're not going to be intimidated. They know they can hit the ball, and the wind is blowing out. And to be honest with you, they really didn't generate a lot of chances against the 45s. Part of that was the wind. Part of it was some very good defense by the 45s, and Israel Sanchez pitched a pretty good game.
Please stay loud. Please stay loud. Put it together right now. Let's go. Come on.
So here's Josh Riley leading off.
Have a little
And we'll see how Moji's knuckleball does. He does have a wind in his face. And there's a bullet. He gets it over the shortstop, leadoff man on, as Josh Riley hit about a 10-foot high rocket over the shortstop. Iggy was in a good spot, just couldn't get up high enough to snag it. And that brings up Kyle Pearson. Nobody out, leadoff man on. And again, we were talking that this game might be a football score. Riley off to a big lead here. And Moji grabs a strike there. As Pearson there's a long high fly ball. Outfield goes back. Ryan Russ up against the fence makes the catch. The runner dig tag. So high towering fly ball. Ryan Russ caught it about a foot short of the fence. Put his hand out and just kind of spun and got it in for out number one. So the ball definitely carrying. That ball about a foot shy of getting out of here. And let's see if some of these bigger Resmondo hitters maybe take that as a cue to try to dip and drive here. Brings up Jason Matuzik. Again, it is 300-foot fences all the way around here. This is the type of breeze that if they get it up in the jet stream, we might see Resmondo leave the yard once or twice. So that pitch a little low. It's 6-12 on the arc. And Matuzik was just in the box. Of course, those of you on the live stream know that. And there's a strike. You do get the cross if it crosses two corners. So Moji trying to work back from a 3-0 count. Got it full. Matuzik up in the box. And there he gets him to beat it into the ground. Joey Agardo up the line. Zoe makes the tag for 2 outs. Again, Joey got a little low on that arm slot. Threw a screwball over here. He's kind of wiping his hand a little bit. Problem on turf is you can't reach down and grab a little dirt. So here's Phil Matt, who absolutely destroyed a triple into the wind down the left field line. See if Phil tries to go deep here. So Mike Marasovic, so far looks like he's making a conscious effort to not get too mechanical. And there's a base hit. Phil Matt just rips one into center field, and Resmondo's on the board, 6-1. Phil Matt just sat back and rifled it right up the middle. And here comes Bubba Mack, the third baseman. So 6-1 now, runner on first with 2 outs. And there's a way out of play. Ryan Russ hurdles the fence. A lot of times late in the weekend, we'll see people put guys down the line so their outfielders don't have to do stuff like that. Just underway here, bottom of the first. So with these outfielders playing deep, anytime we get a base runner with 2 outs, it's going to be a great chance for them to score. So Moji mixing it up. And there's a hard ground ball to Iggy. It sticks in the glove, and he makes the play. So Resmondo gets 1 back. Flash's lead cut to 5. Will head to the top of the second. So Mike Marasovic really working hard. Steady diet of high deep and hard fast. Trying to disrupt a little bit of the Resmondo timing. And we head to the top of the second. And Resmondo's shown that they can hit the ball. So right now what you're looking at, if you're a flashback, you just want to keep tacking on. Put a little mental pressure on Resmondo to have to try to find a way to score a really, really big number. So Bob Rush Jr., Bob Russ will talk to anybody anytime during a ball game. So it's going to be 11-1-2. Mike Marasovic, the pitcher, Brian Kearns, and Danny Dispenza. And they're going to squeeze Moji.
Hey, Bob will stay with.
So up 5, they won't hit for Moji here. They're going to go ahead and let him stay in the ball game.
Big ball, fellas. Big ball. Come on, somebody make a play.
That pitch is deep. So not surprising, Moji would be taking some pitches here.
Come on, Trav. Come on, make him run it.
And there's a strike.
Make a play here.
Full count.
Briggs in front.
And Moji hits a soft fly ball. Easy play out there for the left fielder, Josh Riley. So leadoff man down brings up Brian Kearns with Danny Dispenza on deck. So now for Brian Kearns, they're going to come in. And Brian tried to go down that line, but it drifts foul. Again, had that ball been fair, it would have been interesting to see if the right fielder, Buddy Wolf, could have got there. He didn't really make much of an effort. Kind of saw it was going to go foul. So Brian Kearns started the top of the first off, hard ball off of Clark that the shortstop Bazat couldn't make a play on. So 2 strikes on Kearns now. So Wynn picking up here a little bit. And there's illegal. So Joe's Monza, the home plate umpire, so far being consistent. And there's a ground ball off of Clark again. Kearns will take a look, but Josh Riley playing him tight. Second time he's gone off the pitcher up the middle. Brings up Dispenza. He dumped a single toward left center. They had a little trouble with it. Kearns scored from first. And Dispenza hits a hot shot, little bobble, nobody at first. So Pearson reached over. I think Clark was going to be a little late there anyway. And Flashback taking advantage so far of getting some runners on hard hit balls down, making Resmondo work a little defensively for Justin Smykowski. And they are playing Justin a little too shallow and right if he decides to turn and burn, and he does. Long fly ball way in the air, but he got under it. Kearns is going to score from second, folks. So Justin Smykowski gave it a ride. Didn't quite barrel up like he wanted to. Gave it a ride. The right fielder, Buddy Wolf, got back on it. But it was a foregone conclusion. He was running backwards. Kearns scores from second. Dispenza to second. And here's Manzella, walked his first time. And then if you're Flashback, you'd like to pick up that 8th run here with 2 outs if you could. Wind blowing straight out to right field. And Manzella tries to go the other way, and just really a little late on that swing. It's almost like he swung on an afterthought. And again, it's a 2-out RBI situation. You want to try to go to your best swing. And there he goes with center fielder Corey Briggs. But Flashback picks up the run that Resmondo got. And we'll head now to the bottom of the second, 7-1. And I got to tell you, Flashback's been doing what we kind of thought the 45s maybe should have done a little bit more of, with the wind blowing in and that 2-0 loss, which is that they've made the Resmondo infield work a little bit here. And they've gotten a few base runners and at least 3 of the guys that reached on balls hit hard throughout the infield have scored. So down by 6 again. It's going to be the pitcher, Travis Clark, then Buddy Wolf, and Tyler Mashburn.
Travis, give us a lead, kid. Travis, give us a lead here, Travis. Let's go.
So Flashback out of the gate good here. And there's a strike. And Travis has been working the middle of the field, either trying to hit line drives there or and that ball's going to drift out of play. Nobody can get to it. Francisco Arenas jumps on it and gets it back in for us. And he's been trying to work the center of the diamond a lot. Got robbed by Israel Sanchez in that 45 game on the line drive. And John Zawoski's about 15 feet. They're really squeezing the center of the diamond. And there's a fly ball. Dispenza comes in. So they were playing Zawoski about 15 feet off the right field line. Myers was up the middle. Joe Piscitelli was behind second. And Joey Agardo, the shortstop, was squeezing toward the bag. So they must have been watching Resmondo. And here's Buddy Wolf, the right fielder. And he hits a pop-up. Joe Piscitelli calls for it, and he makes the catch. So, again, I think the approach that Resmondo has had of not thinking about hitting home runs has served them well up to this point. And I don't know if some of their hitters might be thinking, wind blowing out, let's go back to the drive swing. But when outfielders are playing you this deep, there's so much space, the line drive works. So here's Tyler Mashburn. Like I said, we really haven't seen much of Tyler. So again, Moji's really been working. Full count here, 2 outs, nobody on. And there's a high fly ball. Ryan Russ is there, and they'll put it away. So at the end of 2 complete, 7-1 Flashback, leading Resmondo. Again, a lot of game to go. If you're Flashback, I think your goal is you want to continue to tack on. You don't want to sit on a number because sooner or later Resmondo's going to have an inning. And more importantly, I talk all the time that what you want to do is impose your will on the other guy. And when you score every inning, that is the thing that I think chips away at the other team's confidence more than anything else when you just start thinking, man, these guys are relentless and we can't stop them.
March with 2 in the first for 45.
So March leading the 45s. They scored 2 in the first. March having a good run. We're down to 4 teams now. And the loser of this game would play the winner of the 45s in March, I believe. And then the loser, the winner of that game, would come back and play whoever wins this. So Joe Piscitelli, the shortstop, leading off here. And Pish walks the dog. No! That dog won't hunt as it goes foul. And they'll start over again. Ball just drifted. When it left the bat, it looked good. Had it stayed fair, would have been extra bases. In the back end of the year, he's been coming this way a lot more. I'm not a big fan of it. I think Joe's got good pop to both gaps. And I think sometimes he falls in love trying to hit that ball down the right field line. Strike 2, way ahead in the count now, is Travis Clark. And Joe Piscitelli, diving stop by the shortstop, Pearson, but he can't make the play. Is that Pearson or Mashburn? That's Mashburn playing short. So looked like it was going to get through there clean. He made a diving stop. The ball kind of bounced out of his glove. Leadoff man on here for Joey Agardo. And that's my pet peeve. If you're going to take a pitch, I want, as a hitter, I want my hitters to look like they're hitting. And there's a little flip shot, and that's going to drop. Piscitelli will get to third. As Joey Agardo just flipped it in front of the right fielder, Buddy Wolf. And that's what happens when you got to back up on guys. Here's Anthony Stacy. Anthony's job is to get one in and get one over here. And he hits a fly ball. I don't think that's going to get one over, but it will get one in. So Flash has put something, something up on the board every inning. And right now they lead 8-1. And here's Ryan Russ. So Anthony Stacy did drive the run in, but he didn't get the run over.
Marsh, ready to go get one.
And Ryan Russ punches it into center field. Gardo will get to third. Runners on the corner. So Flashback so far looking sharp on offense. It brings up John Zawoski. As we are only in the top of the third. This might be the most runs Resmondo's given up in a game this weekend. And Zawoski, hard ground ball. Mashburn, nifty backhand play. Nice job there by Bazat to keep a foot on the bag to get the fielder's choice. Another run does score. That was a slick play by Mashburn, a little backhand pickup. Throw was a little bit off, but Bazar turned into a first baseman. Brings up Mike Myers. That pitch is a little deep. 9-1 Flashback here, top of the third. And there's a ball, diving stop by Bazar. Throw to first in time. Great play by Bazar to end the inning as he laid out to stop what looked to be a single. Got up and got just enough on the throw. Great stretch by Pearson. And Resmondo coming up in the bottom of the third, trailing 9-1. Couple of nifty defensive plays there, or Flashback could still be hitting. But Flashback 6 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. They've scored in every inning. And I see Brett Helmer trying to talk to Mike Marasovic, maybe trying to distract him a little bit. Moji's been locked in. So we might be seeing a little. I'm always wary when teams try to kill you with kindness. So 9-1 Flashback. Thought I saw Vito to short center here. Yeah, he's on the bench. I think Flashback is just going with the guys that got him here. So they also have Vito Iovino on the bench. So I think this might be a pinch hitter. This might be Kyle Pearson hitting for Tyler Mashburn. And there's a high fly ball. Dispenza's there. Puts it away for out number 1. No, I'm sorry. That was Corey Briggs. I was one hitter off there. Brad Record, Kevin Bazart. Next 2 scheduled hitters here. So Brad Record, second baseman, trying to get something going here in the bottom of the third. So again, Moji working hard here. A little deep. And guys love to play behind Moji. And there's a fly ball to center. Smykowski makes the catch. Sinking line drive. Justin Smykowski comes in, slid into it, and made the catch at the no glove out in Forest Park in the 7th inning of the championship game. He made 2 spectacular catches.
Sure did.
So nice play by Smykowski. 2 outs here, 9-1. Brings up Bazat. Again, I think sometimes, too, what happens is outfielders will get their mitt underneath the ball So the webbing is on the ground, and if the ball should hit that webbing, little flare, Piscitelli over the shoulder catch, makes the play, and we'll head to the fourth, 9-1 Flashback. And we saw Bazat in that 45 game lay one on the carpet, a little soft roller to third for a base hit. So he does know how to take something off his swing. That time, Joe Piscitelli just made a nice play on it. So Flashback has scored in every inning. We'll see if they keep that trend alive. 45's up 5? 45's? 45's leading March 5-2. The loser of that game will be out of the tournament and finish fourth. And this might be bottom top. Looks like Julian Gutierrez has grabbed the bat and will hit for Mike Marasovic. And then they'll be back to the top with Brian Kearns and Danny Dispenza. And right now, you're up 9-1 here in the fourth. And
Hey, real good in the gap. Pitching good.
if you're Flashback, you're looking for a kill shot if you could get one. Julian takes that ball a little deep. And they've tightened up for Julian. Julian takes another ball, 2-0. And when we first saw Julian with smack out, everything was grip and rip, and he was hitting bombs to right field and right center. He's expanded his game since then. And Julian Gutierrez, big hop to Bazart over to first for out number 1. So Julian trying to go look like the other way, and they were playing him not too shallow, but just beat that into the ground. So this might be the first inning. They got the leadoff man out. And Kearns, a little spinner. That was my nightmare scenario, this kid running into me. Because that's a big, solidly built player right there. So here's Brian Kearns. Even Will Russ, the coach, froze. He didn't know which way to go. So here's Brian Kearns back to softball. And Kearns just flips one down the line, and he's going to head to second with a stand-up double. So Flashback right now been doing a little bit of everything with the bats. They put a runner in scoring position with one out with Dispenza and Smykowski coming up here. And Dispenza, hard ball to Bazart. The runner does move, looked like the front shoulder, just couldn't elevate it. Now it's up to Smykowski to get the run. Justin gave a ball a ride the last time that the right fielder, Buddy Wolf, got back on. But Justin's got some space here, and he gets in trouble when he swings at pitches that are a little too low. With Justin, it's about pitch selection. And there's a bullet, Bazart. So they get their first egg of the game as Smykowski and Dispenza can't deliver after the one-out double. And we head now halfway through 9-1 Flashback. Resmondo does got the hammer, and
Hey, get back in the fight. Let's go. Nice. Okay, let's go. No, get back in the fight.
I think Jeff Hernandez looks like he's got a little sheet there. And I think he's talking to Mike Myers about who's coming up, how they want to play these guys. As I know J.P. Scourin keeps the book and is one of the coaches for Flashback. He's a softball junkie. He was walking around watching games, and I'm sure they were watching some of the streams. Modern technology, if you're a good team and we stream you, people watch that to see what you're doing. So top of the Resmondo lineup here in the bottom of the fourth, Josh Riley, Kyle Pearson, and Jason Matusik. So big test here. So we're halfway through the ball game. First half belonged to Flashback. We'll see what happens second half. And there's a wicked line drive. Just foul. You can tell by the way Riley was running out of the box. He thought it was going to hook foul, and it did. Hitter always knows. And that ball looked like it was dancing a little bit, like it had a knuckleball. But it did stay foul. And Moji did pitch to a few of these Resmondo guys in the All-Star game. So for the guys that were in that game, he got to see him up close and personal, as they say. And there's a high fly ball, and Ryan Russ gets there after a long run. Ryan Russ, that ball just kind of hung up in the air in that cross breeze. Ryan, he's deceptive, and he covers a ton of yardage. Ran a long way. The ball hung up just enough to allow him to get there. Went into a semi-slide, made the catch. That's going to bring up the big first baseman, Kyle Pearson.
No matter, let's go. The battle, play your three now, let's go.
And that pitch just a little inside, it looked like. And Moji just drops a flat pitch in there. Just dropped it into what we call the well, is where the plate slants to the point. And there he tried to sneak a fastball past him. And he drills it down the right field into the corner. It's going to be at least two. Here comes the relay. And that throw missed it. The home run down the right field line. So Moji tried to sneak a fastball past him. Pitch was up around letter high. The barrel really lagged there, but he hit it hard down the right field line. 9-2. So I'm not sure if he was necessarily trying to go there, but the speed of the pitch, 9-2. So Resmondo, inside the park homer, brings up Matusik. And we'll see if that's a rally killer, as they say. And there's a towering fly ball. Ryan Russ on his horse near the fence, and it's gone. Justin Matusek leaves the park. Somebody got to go get the ball, because there's no gate over there. So that ball left the yard. He got it up in the air. 9-3, back-to-back homers. One outside, one inside. Ryan Russ had a long way to go. He got to the fence, but it was gone. So Resmondo showing a little life here. And here's Phil Matt. Ryan Russ started in a step. So Moji got that right up in his wheelhouse, and he didn't miss it. 9-3 now. So they've cut that 8-run lead down. It was 9-1 coming in. They've cut it to 6. And we know Phil here, Matt, has got a lot of pop as well. And there's a hard ground ball. Stacy cuts it off. Nicely done for the first out of the inning. And they are sending somebody out to get the ball there. Looks like a young kid's running to go get it. There's a gate over there. I don't know if it's locked. And it is. The kid's going to climb the fence now. How's that for hustle? And that ball is shot, but it'll stay in the park. Ryan Ross. So they pick up a deuce. They cut it to 6. And there's a young guy over there looking for Matusik's home run. So that ball will be coming in at some point. But at this point in the fourth inning, the ball they threw in is going to be about the same. Looks like the kid has it. Not sure who that is. It's a guy in a red shirt there. So nice effort. Kid jumped up on that fence like Spider-Man. Now he's stuck on the top of the fence. Thought a little better of it. So now he's going to take the long way around. Okay, so we're back in it here. 9-3, Resmondo. Apparently there were a couple of balls over there. So if I'm not mistaken, that's the first ball we've seen hit over a fence in a ball game. We've seen, obviously, the home run contest. It's going to be Manzella, Piscitello, and Igardo. And Mike keeps looking this way. Pitch just cleared in the well. And Manzella screams one the other way for a base hit. Leadoff single for Flashback. Here comes Joe Piscitelli. So if you're Flashback, you'd like to... And there's a pinch runner. Will Russ going to run for Mike Manzella. So nobody out here. Joe Piscitelli. And they're really not playing Joe. Very short. Buddy Wolf and right. And there he... And Will Russ... Oh, he would have made it. The throw was wide. So Joe Pish was kind of set up to hit that ball. Looked like he was going to go to right field. It looked like he changed his mind. Brings up Joey Igardo. And he takes a strike. 1 out, 1 on now. Top of the fifth. And Joey goes for it again, but he beats him. Will Russ making the turn. He's going to score. Throw to the plate. Save. And now the ball gets away, and Igardo goes to third. Head first dive by Will Russ. He scored from first on a stretch single. And they pick up one of those runs. Meanwhile, with 1 out, Joey Igardo, the ball got away from the catcher, and Iggy took an extra 60 feet. So Vito pinch hitting here for Anthony Stacy. So Vito's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of different swings. And there he tried to go big. That will score another run. And Flashback picks up the 2 they gave up. And they push back out to that 8-run lead that they had. So Flashback 11-3. Their execution has been good. And it brings up Ryan Russ. So here's Ryan Russ here. John Zawoski on deck. And Ryan slaps it off the glove of Bubba Wolf. Or I'm sorry, that's Mac. Bubba Mac. What'd I say, Wolf? Bubba, Buddy. 2 outs here for John Zawoski. Ryan Russ runs pretty good. And there's a line drive off the glove of Pearson. Ryan Russ stopped running. I'm not sure. There was 2 outs. Would have been close. So Ryan Russ, maybe a little bit of a mental breakdown there. There were 2 outs. He got to third, and he kind of stopped like he was worried about a catch or something. Big spot for Meyer. 2 more ducks on the pond in an 11-3 ball game here.
Come on, Abe. Come on, Abe. Come on, Abe.
Mike Myers with the single could get this to a 10-run lead. A little deep there. And Myers, hard ground ball. Nice job there by the shortstop. He had a runner cutting right in front of him. Stayed right with it. But Flashback comes back. They push out to an 8-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. So Flashback playing up to this point a sharp ball game. And they have during the summer been the best team out here. And they look like they're engaged in the game today, certainly.
Hey, fix the 3. 3's the problem, not the 11. Let's go. Come on. That's fixable, right? Come on. Come on.
So it's going to be the pitcher leading off, Travis Clark, Buddy Wolf, and Tyler Mashburn. But we'll see if they hit Kyle Pearson, who's already hit once. Now Mashburn does have a bat, so they're going to let him hit. So here's Clark, and he pulls it right to Stacy. Reached out nonchalantly, made the catch. Leadoff man down, and it brings up Buddy Wolf, the right fielder. So Resmondo right now, they scored 2 with the wind blowing in. They've so far still got a lot of game to go. They've only scored 3 with the wind blowing out. And there's a strike in the well. 2 strikes now. Moji way ahead here in the count. See if he tries to waste one. And he got him to reach a little bit. Dispenza makes the catch for out number 2. Good pitch. Threw him a little dead fish. It looked like Buddy reached just a hair for it. Gave it a pretty good ride, but he was reaching. Didn't really get that full hip rotation into it. So the Moji telling his second baseman he went right center last time, Tyler Mashburn. And there he pulls it. Stacy, that's going to be at least 2. Should have been the 3rd out of the inning. Stacy looking at himself like, what happened there? Said it was a little bit of a knuckleball. Think he closed his glove a hair early on it. So a 2-out base runner for Resmondo brings up Corey Briggs, the center fielder. Good job there by Ryan Russ to come all the way in.
I'll let you know if he treats, Marsh. You got 10 feet. You're good there. See the release.
So we'll see if that comes into play here.
You're good.
So it looked like it was going to be a 1-2-3 inning. And that's what I don't like about the gloves sometimes. Guys will just reach up one-handed. That ball was hit hard. And from the way Anthony was talking to the shortstop, it might have been a little bit of a knuckleball. I'd like to see guys try to get 2 hands up there. And there's a little chopper. Joey Agardo throws the glove away and makes the play. So Joey read the hop, didn't want to deal with the mitt, just flipped the glove aside and caught it barehanded and threw it. So the error does not affect anything. We head top 6, 11-8 Flashback. So again, if you're Resmondo, even though these guys are grown men and they played a lot of softball, by 16-inch standards, they're still young players from an experience standpoint, and they're learning every time they come out. So they played a game with the wind blowing in, and now they're playing a game where they're kind of trailing. and that's all part of them playing. But the worst they can do this weekend is third, and they've had a great weekend, and they still could win this game and the tournament. So, but it's all a process for them. We know talking to them, they've enjoyed themselves, and they think the tournament's been run pretty well, and it's our understanding, if they don't have any conflicts, that they're going to plan on coming back next year. So they're going to let Mike Marasovic hit, which makes sense because up to this point he's been in control of the ball game. And Moji tries to go the other way, and he dumps it fair. And now let's see if they pinch run for him. He is a base clogger, but he walks the dog and dropped it fair. He's giving me the elephant side. Of course, I had Moji for a couple of years. He was my main pitcher on Mudville. So here's Brian Kearns. If I'm Kearns, I'm looking to just get it something clean. And there he flips it the other way, and easy catch out there for Josh Riley. Now, the interesting thing is a guy like Danny Dispenza, who loves to hit doubles, he's got to be careful. He can't run Moji off of a base. And and Danny tries to go big. Buddy Wolf going back. He'll make the catch, and Moji's going to go ahead and lumber into second base, getting a lot of cheers from the Flashback fans for tagging up on a high fly ball. And the Resmondo guys are having a good laugh. And Moji's breathing kind of hard.
Same thing, buddy. Got a bunch.
So here's Justin Smykowski. If he hits a double, Moji may score. Moji says, I can hear you. And I tell you, if I'm managing Flash, I really don't want Moji over and exerting himself. And there he just skies it. He's got room. So the Moji leadoff hit goes by the wayside. They can't score. We'll go bottom of the sixth, 11-3 Flashback. So both teams kind of having a good time out here. And the big thing is now let's watch Moji on the hill. He didn't get a chance to rest. And let's see how he does this inning. So I tell you, Buddy Wolf in right field has impressed me in this game. He's shown a lot of range. There's been some balls hit that he has gotten back and tracked very well in right field. So every game we're learning a little something more about this Resmondo club. So here we go, leading off here. Want to say this is Brad Record with Bazart and then the top of the lineup. And so Moji is falling right behind. So again, we were wondering how that running was going to affect them. He grabs a strike there. 3-1 count. Full count. So he works his way back from 3-0. And there's a little chopper over to Joe Piscitelli. And that'll be out number one. So Moji fell behind 3-0, worked his way back, and got a little two-hopper to the short center for the lead out. And here's Bazert. And now if I was Stacy, I would be looking to creep in a little bit, as he has laid a couple down at third base, usually later in ball games. And the left side of the Flashback infield is creeping a little bit. And there's a strike. And there's an illegal call. I think Bazart was going to offer at it. And that pitch, that wasn't that deep in the area behind. So full count, 1 out here. And Bazart just got it over the top of Meyer. And Bazart running hard all the way, turns it into a double. Myers took a couple of steps, jumped. It looked like it went just off the top of his fingers on the glove hand for a 1 out double. Now they're back to Josh Riley. And Bazat is saying, how close were you to catching that? And he's like, just off the tip of the glove. And that slowed it up enough that Smykowski coming in couldn't get to it to make a throw. So here's Josh Riley with Kyle Pearson on deck. Or as I like to say, the road graders are coming up now, including that guy Matusik.
You're good.
And there's a strike. So everybody watching the game is hanging on every pitch. And there's a base hit. That's going to score the 4th Resmondo run, and it's 9-4. So 1 out. Here's Kyle Pearson. With Jason Matusik on deck, Jeff Hernandez just going to come and slow things down a little bit, telling the defense what they want him to do here. Now, Pearson has hit a lot of balls to the right side of the field, and 1 out here. So they're deep in the outfield, deep in the infield. Mike Marasovic looking for maybe a double play ball. That pitch looked like it might have been a little inside. And there's a strike. 1-1 count here. Riley off to a good lead. A little inside. Looks like Moji doesn't want these guys to get their arms extended. And there's a foul ball that's going to be out of play. And the fan down there makes the play. A couple of fans deep down that left field line threw it in. So 1 out here. Now it looks like Will Russ is going to jog down that line, maybe save his left fielder some running. And there's a high fly ball. Sikowski's there. He's got a rifle. And here it comes, 1 hot beauty. 2 outs for Jason Matuzak, who went yard his last time up. And that, you know what, if you're Resmondo, that's probably a pretty good idea not to get thrown out at second base, to let the big man get a bite of the apple here. So right now the Flashback guys are hoping Moji doesn't throw the same pitch he did last time to this guy. 9-4, bottom of the 6th. Flashback, 11-4. There he grabs an inside strike. Tuzak didn't like it. And there's a line drive in, caught by Piscitelli. Got the glove on it, popped up, stuck with it. We're going to head to the 7th. 11-4, Flashback. So top of the 7th. Tell you, if I'm Flashback, I got a 7-run lead, but I'd like to get more. So Will Russ helping out Resmondo here, playing catch with Travis Clark. Like I said, if I was Flashback, I wouldn't sit on the number, because even though Resmondo's only got 4.
Russ and Randy Russ a shout out. He texted me. They're watching. They're in Florida watching.
So the Russ is watching in Florida. A shout out from Will. So if you're Flashback, you're up 7.
45s are up 7 too.
45s are up 7, but what you have here is, you know, Resmondo's actually hit a lot of balls really hard. So you don't really want to just think the game is ever over. Well, yeah, Moji's done a good job, but he's really working. He's throwing it fast. He's throwing it high. He's throwing the knuckleball. A couple of times ahead of the count, he's actually not throwing the knuckleball. And Manzella gets a base hit in front of the left fielder, Josh Riley. Riley thought about maybe selling out, but he didn't. It brings up pitch. So Mike Manzella continues to swing it. Nobody out, leadoff single here, top of the seventh. And Joe Piscitelli, he'd tell you, he gets a little stubborn. He keeps trying to hit that ball. So Flashback came out right from the jump, put up a 6 spot in the first, have led ever since. And now he goes halfway. Manzella, courtesy fake. They ran for him earlier in the game, so no pinch runner now. Brings up Joey Agardo, who's been carving them up here with little dinks and dunks, and looks like Buddy Wolf is going to really start to squeeze a little bit in right. Joey Agardo. And that ball hit the plate. And I hate this. Most pitchers can, and there's a walk. So Travis Clark, it'll push another potential run to second. Here's Anthony Stacy. This would be a good time for Anthony to maybe think about right center. You got Buddy Wolf coming down in right. Center fielder didn't move with him. He's got a huge opportunity if he hits something hard to right center here. And he tries to go there, but too much center field. Manzella will tag and go to third. Just didn't quite hit it. And brings up Ryan Russ. So these are big runs here. And I know a lot of you are saying, what are you talking about? They're up 7, but a couple of runs here really mentally can get to you as a team. That ball a little too flat, illegal. There's a strike. .21, that pitch outside. Ryan Russ delivers. Another run scores. As Ryan just went down after that low one. And that's what I was talking about earlier in that 45 game. I talked about guys going the other way and not sitting through the swing. If you rewind the tape, that was a perfect example. Ryan bent at the knees, went down, and then followed through his swing without standing up all the way and was able to hit a crisp line drive. Here's Zawoski. It's now 12-4 Flashback. He grabs a strike there as in the middle of the pitch. Zoe just stepped out of the box, but no time there. So Zoe took that pitch. I think he thought it was going to be outside, but it just stayed within the parameters there. So 2 strikes now, 2 outs. Ryan Russ will be moving on the swing. And Zawoski, a little flare, that could be trouble. And it drops. 1 run is in, 2 runs are in. On a John Zawoski flare to center, and it's 14-2. Flashback here in the top of the 7th. Corey Briggs, the center fielder, just couldn't get to it. And again, when you have to play deep, that's what happens. The bigger, stronger guys get those little dump hits. Here's Steph McLaren now pinch hitting for Mike Myers. And Steph drives it, diving stop. Nice play at first. Great play by the second baseman as he laid out. Little backhand flip for the 3rd out. So do or die, bottom of the 7th. Resmondo down 10. So Flashback has been relentless. I want to say they've scored in 5 of the 7 innings. And Mike Marasovic has pitched a pretty big ball game. He had the back-to-back homers the line drive down the right field line, and then the Matuzik bomb that got out of here and left. But other than that, he's done a good job. Flashback's defense, both in the outfield and infield, has been excellent in support, and a very crisp performance by Flashback. So it's going to be Phil Matt, Bubba Mack, and Travis Clark here. And Resmondo looking at an awful tall hill to climb. And there's a line drive foul. And that ball was smoked. Will Russ a little late, so Ryan Russ has to go all the way out there to shag it. Heard some of the Flashback guys going, Will, what are you doing? You got to get out there. Flashback trying to do something we haven't seen very much in the last few years. They won the Forest Park No Glove tournament, and they're trying to win the men's major. If they get 3 defensive outs here, they'll be in the championship game. And there's a high fly ball. Ryan Russ is there, and he puts it away for out number 1. So Phil Matt gave it a ride. Ryan tracked it all the way and got there for out number 1. And Flashback's got a very athletic, fast outfield. And they've been all over it in this game. So here's Bubba Mack, the third baseman. There's Mondo down to the last 2 outs here, bottom of the 7th. If you're Mike Marasovic, you want him swinging. And with the 10-run lead, you can't worry if somebody lights you up for a dinger or something. And there's a chopper up the middle to Joe Piscitelli. Long throw in time. Pish, a strong arm. Just kind of flipped it nonchalantly over there with a little mustard on it. So down to their last out, the pitcher, Travis Clark. And there's a ground ball. Mike Myers and Flashback hands Resmondo their first loss of the tournament, 14-4. Flashback in the championship game. They will play the winner of Resmondo's 45s in a rematch of a game we showed you earlier. So we're going to take a break, folks. We'll be back for the first championship game. Men's 16-inch national championship tournament. This is the first championship game between Resmondo and Flashback. Resmondo lost the winner bracket championship, had to go back to what we call the get-back game. They beat Tito's, or excuse me, I keep calling them Tito's, the 45s. They walked them off in the bottom of the 5th, and they're back here now, first championship game. Resmondo will have to win twice to win the national championship. Flashback looking for yet another national championship, one of the more storied franchises in 16-inch softball. In that winner's bracket championship, if you didn't have a chance to look at it, Flashback also lost the toss, and they came out and they hit Resmondo with a 6 spot and never looked back, winning that game 14-4. So very interesting. You never know what's going to happen here. Flashback's been sitting around a little bit, so you're always worried if you're running the club whether or not there's going to be a little hangover effect and how quick you get out of the box. So we'll keep an eye on that. Flash thus far has been getting progressively better as the tournament has been going on. They have been the best team in the Chicago Summer Series and out here in Chicago all summer. They've won 2 tournament titles, including the Forest Park No Glove, and they have also finished 2nd and 3rd. And so they're having a wonderful year. This is the 5th leg of the Chicago Summer Series, and Flashback came in with a huge point standing lead. And with their no worse than 2nd place finish, they're going to end up as the Summer Series champion. in the point standings. So, of course, they won't be happy with that. They want to win titles. That's what they're about. Jeff Hernandez, Bob Rush Jr. running the club. And Brett Helmer and Mike doing a great job running this Resmondo team. And I was talking to somebody. Here's Brian Kearns leading off. And Kearns, a soft line drive, but right at Pearson. He started the last game bouncing a hard ball off of Travis Clark. So he was just going to throw it down the right field line, didn't elevate it. So I guess if you're Resmondo, this is a better start than they had the last game. And this is going to bring up Danny Dispenza. He tries to go deep, and Buddy Wolf is right there. So Flashback might be having a little of that layover hangover early in this ball game. And the wind is picking up. So the wind is blowing out to dead right. Here's Justin Smykowski. And this should be a hitter's game. And I'm just checking the Resmondo defense. And Justin hits a wicked knuckleball. Nothing the right fielder, Buddy Wolf, could do there. He was kind of a little hesitant to charge it. That ball was dancing around, and this is not a 12-inch, so we got seams on this ball. And we'll get to some of the rules for some of you who are new. Brings up Mike Manzella. Justin Smykowski can flat-out fly. If he gets any type of a stretch single, chances are pretty good he's going to score the first run of the ball game. So here's Mike Manzella. And he goes the opposite way. And again, we see an outfielder out there, the left fielder, Josh Riley, threw his hands up. That really never really fools anybody, but outfielders tend to do it. So little two-out action here. Joe Piscitelli. Flashback trying to take a lead again. They led start to finish in that championship game. And Joe Piscitelli got the winning glove at the Pop-Pops. So the people here in Chicago know what I'm talking about. Charity event that had about 3,500 to 5,000 people in attendance. And we talked in the last game, Joe falling in love with that little flip swing. And so last game, Resmondo was playing pretty deep, and they have tightened up a little bit. Flashback hit a lot of balls in front of them, and they've creeped in the outfield. Their infield is playing a little deeper because Flash popped a few balls over it. And think if you're Flashback. And Joe Pish, a line drive, Flashback on the board, 1-0. Joe Piscitelli sweeps a single into center field, and they take the first lead of the ball game, 1-0. So all of this started with 2 outs and nobody on. Joey Agardo. And Buddy Wolf really creeping in, as has the outfield, as Joey dumped a few singles in front of him. Another runner over at third. And Joey, a little ground ball over to short center, throw to first. And they just nip him. Flash not too happy about that. And Joe Pish over there kind of shaking a leg. I saw Mike Manzella grabbing a forearm. You can see Joe Pish might have a little cramp problem. Again, sometimes you got to make sure you stay hydrated, kids. This is Flashback's 6th game of the day. So we'll give you some of the rules in case we got some newbies. It's Chicago 16-inch style softball with a twist. We're wearing gloves. 99% of the time we do not. So if you're new to the stream, scroll down when you bookmark or follow our page so you can find it, and then scroll down, and what you're going to see is 16-inch softball where we do not wear gloves. And it's amazing what these guys can do barehanded, but of course we do it every day, and most of us started playing 16-inch on the block in the picnics in grammar school. So it's second nature to us. This is not a mush ball. It's a 16-inch clincher, firm out of the box, and maintains its consistency. Wind actually picking up, which is normal this time of the day. 60-foot bases, you can lead off, you can't steal. 38 from the rubber to the point of home plate, 612 on the arc, open count. We also have big bats, can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, 2 1/4 on the barrel. And here's the leadoff man, Josh Riley. And pitcher gets 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. A throw or a fake to a base is considered one of your fakes or hesitations. So here's Josh Riley. That ball's a little outside. And Moji falling behind. Again, a little stiffer breeze in this game than we had in the first one, and he walks the leadoff man. And that wind was knocking those pitches down. And I'm looking at the top of the trees, much more active. And to be honest with you, that favors Resmondo, as they have more guys that can dip and drive. And here comes Kyle Pearson, big first baseman. Of course, Jason Matuzek hitting 3, hit one out of here in that first championship game. Best of my knowledge, the only ball that's actually been a home run over the fence this weekend. And there's a hard ground ball, and if Myers couldn't make the play, it looked like originally he was going to have a beat on it. Pearson, a strong kid, the second hop had that top spin, and it took a big jump on it, and Myers had a dive on it. And, hey, I'm 62, bud. Everybody's a kid to me. So Myers got a bare hand on it but couldn't make the play, and here's Matuzek. And Moji kind of walking around a little bit. Again, the wind is more toward right field. Didn't seem to matter in that first game when he airmailed one out of here. And Moji jumps in for a strike. Different home plate umpire. And Matuzek hits it high in the air, but not deep enough. That's going to tie the game. Ryan Russ throws it in, and we're all tied at 1. So Matuzek didn't quite barrel it up, did give it a ride, stayed in the park. Ryan Russ has been everywhere out there in left field. And here's Phil Matt. In that first game of the day we did today, he hit a wicked hard line drive against a cross breeze for a stand-up triple that one-hopped the fence over on field 1. So lead runner at second base here with 1 out. And there's a hard ground ball over to Joe Piscitelli. Took his time and made a strong throw. Joey Agardo almost got in the way, but at the last minute kind of ducked down. And with that wind howling out, Moji getting a little movement on that knuckleball. He makes it hard to barrel it up at times. So 2 outs now, runner at third. And this brings up Bubba Mack. And that's what Moji's been doing. He'll throw that kind of high fastball up in the eyes, and then he'll mix it up. And there's that knuckleball, and he beats it into the ground. Moji isn't going to be able to get there. And that's a good example, I think, John Zawoski, as Resmondo takes the lead. I think John Zawoski got out a little bit too far over his skis. I think Mike Myers would have been there. And again, and Zoe is talking to Mikey, asking him, would you have been there? And he said yes, but that's when Mike's got to be yelling that he's there. Here's Travis Clark, the pitcher. So Resmondo grabs the lead 2-1. First championship game. They need to win twice. And there's a little one-hopper to Meyer. Big hop, easy play. So Resmondo, to falling behind 1-0, they pick up a run. Could have been worse. Lead-off walk to start the inning did not help. So we head to the top of the second. A lot of game to go here. And again, even though the wind's blowing out, it's to your advantage because the outfielders are a little deeper. So if you know how to cut in place, this is a good hitter's day. And we'll see now how Flashback responds. The game really hasn't picked up quite as much as intensity as we saw in that winter bracket final yet, but I'm sure it's going to heat up. Well, Andrew, I heard that some people were saying over the weekend that Roof X team might actually be the best 12-inch, and I guess they just had a tournament in Indiana last week, and Roof X won, and they've taken a point standing lead on Resmondo by about 20 points. So somebody was telling me they're built a little bit differently than this Resmondo team. Apparently they're more of a defensive team, extraordinarily fast. And there's a little overhand cut job, and that's what I'm talking about. Stacy, no chance for Josh Riley to get there. And leadoff man on for Ryan Russ. And they were saying that Rufex plays the game more, even though it's 12-inch, they play more like a Chicago 16-inch team, that they kind of move the ball around a little bit, line drives and things like that. They don't rely on power. And somebody told me Resmondo's more of a power club. And even though they've looked good with the mitt this week, and they have made some errors when they have been challenged a little bit with some hard-hit balls. So, be interesting. Maybe they'll come out next year. Calls a strike there. The Flash guy's barking a little bit. So leadoff man on, Ryan Russ up, nobody out here. And I always laugh because when I was in the box, I never wanted anybody screaming at an umpire. So Ryan Russ couldn't quite get his hands on it, backpedaling the center fielder. He'll just lob it in. That's a good tag. That ball carried due to the wind, and the center fielder, Corey Briggs, was backpedaling, so you knew he wasn't going to be able to really challenge it. So runner in scoring position, tying run with one out here. Yeah, you know, it's funny, Tim. I said the same thing. I went over to check the Resmondo lineup to make sure it was the same one as the one I had from the previous game, and they haven't really changed their lineup much all weekend. And, I told them I'm superstitious, and there's a good enough breeze here. We got a little cloud cover now, but I think Flashback wanted to be in the shade. And Zawoski, a knuckleball, and he gets over the top of Josh Riley. Zawoski turning. One run is in, and he's going to score. Two-run homer. Josh Riley gets beat over the top by John Zawoski. And that ball stayed up in the air. Josh looked up. He turned to try to get back on it. And Flashback reclaims the lead. So we've had two lead changes already. I guess if you count the original 1-0 lead, you could say 3. 3-2, and Flashback suddenly with a lot of life. Here's Mike Myers. And there's a little ground ball to the shortstop. Long throw, and he pulls Pearson off the bag. And I don't think they, I hope they know that. So Myers just chopped it. The shortstop, Tyler Mashburn, is playing because the other Kyle Pearson had to leave. And he was playing kind of deep, and he airmailed the throw. Still only one out here, 2 in. Here's Gutierrez. And he's hitting for Mike Marasovic early in the game. And, of course, the top of the Flashback lineup is on deck, so they're rolling the dice here that they can get something going. And I think if Julian realizes, and that's a strike, I think if Julian realizes the way the wind is, And there's 2 strikes. And now they shift way off the line. And they're really squeezing him in the gap on the other side. And he hits that ball and backpedaling. Josh Riley makes it. And again, I think Julian took a couple of pitches that would have been a little better off with 2 strikes. He felt like he had a swing. So in this case, the pinch hitter didn't quite work out. Back to the top with Kearns. Myers will be running. And Buddy Wolf is respecting Kearns a little bit. Hit a soft line drive trying to cut the right field line. Takes that pitch deep with Dispenza on deck. And that pitch is flat. Strike. We called that a strike. This umpire has a much deeper strike zone than Joe Monza had. And again, I think, these are umpires these guys see all year. So as a hitter, you got to make adjustments. It's 2-2 count. Kearns a little ground ball up the middle. Diving stop. They can't make the play. Second baseman laid out. Brad Reichert, and that's a big play because if he doesn't get leather on it, that ball wasn't hit that hard. And that would have been in short right center field almost. And here's Danny Dispenza. And Danny hits a rocket, but right at the short center, and they get the very speedy Kearns. So Danny didn't elevate it. I'm not sure. I think Danny got a little excitable there and went after the first thing he saw. One thing about Travis Clark is he's trying to work hitters, but he's going to give you 1 or 2 good balls to hit in an at-bat. Flashback does reclaim the lead as we head to the bottom of the second, 3-2. So right now, the home plate umpire's got a little deeper strike zone on the high ball, and not quite sure who that favors, but if you're Flashback, you can't get distracted by that. I was always of the opinion that they give you 3 strikes. And if you get a strike 1 called on you, that's not a big deal. And I used to tell guys, so I was always of the opinion, I didn't want guys yelling at an umpire. I would just kick a little dirt, look down at the ground, and I would tell the umpire, hey Johnny, that's a rough strike there. The only people that heard it was me, the catcher, and the umpire. I never wanted to show a guy up. You hope they're professional, but when your whole bench jumps on it, they are human. So my thing was, let me handle my own bat. Here's Buddy Wolf. And he pounds it into center field. Smykowski scoops it up and throws it in. Lead-off single for Resmondo. Brings up Tyler Marshburn. They snuck an R in there on me. So lead-off single, 3-2 here. Game's starting to pick up a little bit. And there's a little flare, and he gets past Zawoski. Base hit. Wolf will get to third, and they overthrew the cutoff man, and that allows Mashburn to get to second.
It's real good, Mark.
So that's a little bit of a mistake there. You must hit the cutoff man. The throw was on target, but you allowed Mashburn to sneak into second. Still nobody out here. Brings up Corey Briggs. And there's a little soft fly ball into the alley. 2 are going to score. Resmondo takes the lead, 4-2. So still nobody out here. And Danny Dispenza looked like he got hurt. He didn't really chase the ball, and he's limping off, and that would be a huge loss. Can't tell if that's a cramp or if he pulled something. He's not touching anything. We'll see if they put Kearns out there. Again, long weekend. Sometimes guys don't stay hydrated. And Danny's really limping. He's really dragging his right leg there. So they're going to have to figure out what they want to do. Now, Brian Kearns is an outfielder. And they do have options because Brian Kearns has played a lot of outfield. You got Steph McLaren, who's played some right field. You could also bring Vito in and put Mike Myers in right. Mike has played a lot of outfield in his career. You got Julian Gutierrez, but he hit for Moji, so you can't put him in the game. So they're just gonna put the glove on Kearns and send Kearns out to right field. So Dispenza's still in the game. We'll see if it's a cramp. He's just sitting there. He looks kind of dejected on the bench. Of course, you work all year to get to this point. Gibbs is talking to his infielders, and he looks like he's taking a shoe off. I think he might have twisted an ankle. So maybe it's something he can walk off. I wouldn't suggest taking the shoe off because there's going to be swelling. I'm surprised Flashback isn't going to get an ice pack or something. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. So 4-3 game, runner on third here on the reset, nobody out. And Brad Reckard in the box. So Resmondo's already hit the number they had in the first championship game at 4.
Let's go, Mo.
And Moji not quite as crisp as he was in that championship game, throwing a lot of balls. And that's a little fly ball. Smykowski makes the catch, but it does drive in a run first out of the inning. Resmondo goes up a deuce here. We are only in the bottom of the second. So, again, if you're going to play Resmondo to win blowing out, you got to expect that there's going to be some runs scored, and your job is to score runs yourself. So that brings up Bazat with Josh Riley on deck. And if I'm Anthony Stacy at third, you got to be careful because Bazat does have that tendency to try to lay it on the field. He might try to guide one up the middle as well. He tried that, and there's that little chop, Stacy. And John Zawoski can't come up with it. It would have been bang, bang at first. It took a big hop. Ball made it on a fly. Zawoski couldn't secure the throw. And as a result of that, another base runner for the top of the Resmondo order. Right now, Flash looks about a half a click slow in some of the reactions here. You see Moji taking a few deep breaths.
Oh, Josh.
Good. You're good.
And again, like I said, he's just not quite as sharp as he was in the last game, which I thought was one of the best games he's pitched, not just this weekend. And there's the knuckleball. He gets a pop-up. Everybody chasing him. Mike Myers flips it to Zawoski, and he makes the catch for out number 2. So terrific play there by Mike Myers. He flipped it to Zawoski, who got it back in, but Bazat easily on the tag there. 2 outs, another runner in scoring position now for Kyle Pearson with Matusik on deck. So Flashback right now, a little different tenor to this ball game. And again, I always thought it was interesting. I comment all the time that sometimes the team that goes clean has a little bit of a hangover, and sometimes it takes them half a game to really get back up to where they were. And there's a ball, and it will drop in front of Smykowski. Another run scores, and Pearson slides in with a double. 6-3 now as they double up Flash on the scoreboard. As he just stroked it and threw it out there.
One more, then we're hitting, boys. Let's go.
So that brings up a very dangerous Matusik. I think if you're Flashback, you got to kind of...
Got a lot of room. I'll let you know if he comes.
You just got to stay up and work. I always thought when you go clean, you're playing with house money. And there was no reason to be tentative or tight because you know you got an extra ball game if you should lose the first one. And Flashback's a little aggravated because they felt that he's given some high, deep strikes. Emoji threw it a little heavier, and it landed pretty close to where some of the high ones were. And the strike zone really is the higher, the shorter, the flatter, the deeper it can go. So there's a high pop-up. If it stays in the park, Ryan Russ is going to get there, and he does, sliding right in front of the fence. But in the inning, 4 runs. Resmondo grabs the lead. That would be the 4th lead change of the game. And again, if you're Flashback, what you're thinking in the back of your mind is you got to get back up to that 13, 14, 15 run margin that you scored the last game. And it's just a matter now of not being anxious in the box, and we'll keep an eye on it, trying to see if Dispenza has taken on. He's done. So Danny Dispenza done for the day. That's a big loss. We'll see who they put in that slot. A lot of times in these championship games, a guy who's sitting on your bench all of a sudden gets into the game, and he ends up being the star. We saw that a couple of years ago when Line Drive won. They had an injury, and they put a kid in who ended up being spectacular in the championship and IF games. I think the kid won something crazy like 6 for 7. And so Flashback now trailing by 3. And here's Justin Smykowski. And there's a strike to Smykowski. So right now, Travis Clark has been pretty sharp. He's been ahead of a lot of the hitters. And there's a hard line drive off the glove. Smykowski, safe. So Pearson gave the ump a look and said, yeah. He said, you saw that throw, right? It was a great job by Marshburn. Off the deflection, good speed on. Here's Manzella. And now if you're the road graders in the middle of the lineup, you got to pick up the slack for Dispenza being out. So it'll be interesting who they go to. It can't be Gutierrez. He's already in the game. Could be Steph McLaren. Looked like that pitch was inside. And there's a touches it, Buddy Wolf on his horse. No tag. Now Smykowski does come back, and he makes it easily. Justin went about 60% of the way down. Right fielder Buddy Wolf tracked it a little too much air. The wind was pushing it away, but just not enough. Again, too much air. If that's more of a line drive, it would have beat him easily. And here's Joe Piscitelli, runner on second, one out here. So Joe Piscitelli, and he rips a single. And now it skips past Briggs. Pish is going to end up coming around. So Joe Pish, line drive to center. Smykowski scored easily. Looked like Briggs was just going to try to pick it up with the glove, and it bounced over. And Flashback, a quick 2-spot, 6-5. Again, defense is important, and that's pretty much a free run there. Joey Agardo, little overhand, just foul. And Joey knew it was going to go foul there. It was foul by good 2 feet. So interesting ball game. Little hard single up the middle. Briggs looked like he was trying to play that off a hip, and the ball just bounced over his glove. So 6-5 here. We're in the top of the third here. Clark drops a strike in. Now he comes with the fastball, little bit of a charge. Bazat couldn't tell there if Clark got a piece of it. But either way, Bazat made a nice play on it. And it brings up Stacy with 2 outs and Ryan Russ on deck. Stacy dropped a nice, polite overhand cut. And now he tries to hit it hard, and he does toward the alley. Stacy takes the turn. He'll jog in with a stand-up double. So they were playing deep. He just swept the hit. And the tying run is now at second base. That brings up Ryan Russ. John Zawoski, who homered his last time up, on deck. And I think if you're a Flashback fan, you'd like to see Zoe come up here with 1 or 2 guys on base. And that ball's a little deep. And that's inside. And if you're Travis Clark, you don't want to put a guy on. And there's a strike. And Travis is trying to throw a knuckleball. His knuckleball's a little different. He's not digging the fingers in. It's like he's just letting the ball come out of his hand without spinning it. And Ryan Russ, he pops it up, and that'll be the 3rd out of the inning. As he reached for a low pitch, didn't sit on it, and he popped it up. But Flashback, as we head to the bottom of the 3rd, tightens the game up as they take advantage. And Bob Rush Jr. trying to tell his son, you got to be a little more patient there, as that was a short pitch. If it would have cleared the point, it would have been just barely, and he got into that situation of reaching. So, pretty good ball game shaping up here. It's going to be Phil Matt, Bubba Mack, and Travis Clark.
Come on, boys. Let's go. Go, Phil.
And the million. And there's a hard ball hit to Stacy. Long throw in time. Anthony Stacy, that ball was smoked. He kind of had to look in his glove to make sure he still had it. Phil Matt just continuing to barrel up on balls. And everything coming off of that bat's been hot. So here's Bubba Mack. And Moji jumps back in there. And there's a hard, that ball's dancing into the gap. Ryan Russ makes the play, gets it in quick. We are in the bottom of the 3rd. TJ.
Go. Mike's over you guys. Bird's in one.
So here's Travis Clark. He's been going up the middle. Changed it up his last time. I think if you're Moji, you'd like to find a way to get it. Now he strokes it down the line. He walks the dog. Bubba Mack is going to get to 3rd, and they throw it in. 2nd and 3rd here, 1 out. So Travis Clark has been trying to go up the middle. Now he goes to the other side.
Come on, guys, let's go.
And that brings up Buddy Wolf. So Resmondo offensively has looked much better in this ball game than they did in that winter bracket championship. And Buddy Wolf goes deep, and that ball is carrying. Caught. This is going to be a double tag, and Joe Piscitelli fell down, and the ball ended up going over the cutoff man. Double tag there, and Resmondo back to a 3-run lead at 8-5.
Hey, one more to go ahead. Let's go.
So Brian Kearns made a nice effort going back. That ball kept carrying on him. 2 outs. 8-5. As that ball was smoked, and here's Tyler Marshburn. Hit a line drive between the first baseman and the second baseman, just over the top of John Zawoski. And now he hits one. Ryan Russ won't be able to get to it. And Marshburn, a couple of hits in the ball game now. And Resmondo, like I said, they've looked very good, much better than they did in that first game against Flash. But if you're Flashback, you've got to understand you're going to have to score some runs. And Resmondo looks like they caught a second wind here. And there's a little ground ball off of Marasovic. Everybody's safe. And that ball was heading right to Joe Pish. And Moji couldn't handle it. Ball ended up in no man's land. So that was a hard base hit there by Corey Briggs. Again, Joe Piscitelli was right there. I think he was going to catch it and step on it there. Brings up Brad Reichert. Might have hurt some of the Flashback guys. Trying to tell Moji to get a little higher and a little deeper. And he dumps that in. And umpire's been consistent calling that pitch. And there he throws it up there. Tried to go right back there. So 2-2 count. And there's the high knuckleball. And he just muscles it into center. 1 run is in. He's going to try it. No, they hold him last second. 9-5 here. So Flashback right now, that pitch not quite where he wanted to throw it. We'll see how long Jeff Hernandez wants to stay here with Mike Marasovic. Backup pitcher is John Zawoski. And here's Bazat. Again, with 2 outs, he might try to slap and run again just to score that 10th run. And there's a little ground ball, but in the inning, they push out to 9-5. And we're going to head to the top of the 4th. So down by 4 here. It's Flashback. Again, hitter's day, wind blowing out. So if you're Flashback, you can't worry about their 9. You got to worry about your 5. You know, I used to tell teams, hey, doesn't matter when they score their runs. We know they're going to get 7, 8, 9, 10. We got to just do what we got to do. Okay, we'll see. So it's going to be Zawoski, Mike Myers, and Moji. And Julian is Gutierrez will hit. So they may be taking Moji out here. And it looks like Vito Iovino is going to go into Danny Dispenza's spot. So if you're Flash, it's only a 4-run lead. You are in the top of the 4th, so you got plenty of time, but you gotta hit with Resmondo. And you got to keep stressing their defense. So last time up, Zawoski airmailed one over Josh Riley in left. That pitch way deep. That pitch a little deep. He took a step like he was thinking about going to right field there. Still deep. 3-0, so Zoe's going to step up in the box. And, you know, my thought process is act like you're going to hit. If you just stand there, most of these guys are good enough to throw a strike if they're not worried about you swinging. And there's a little kind of didn't really get much behind that swing. Again, with the 3-1 count there, you can be a little more selective. And after crushing a ball over the left fielder, you know, hitters are weird. Guys that got more than one swing, it seems like they want to show them all off. If you're locked into a swing, I don't know why guys feel the need to change. I would have just tried to hit another rocket toward left center or the left field line. And that ball clipped the plate. And Myers over the top of the third baseman. One out base hit here. Flashback gets a base runner. Well, sure, but you also got to understand that most of the teams, Dan, that play 16-inch are recruiting out of a very tight, small geographic area, and they're competing with other teams in that geographic area. The recruiting base for Resmondo is nationwide, and they do get paid, and they have a lot of financing behind them. And they're doing very well this weekend, but if you literally took the 10 or 12 best players in Chicago, I think they do good. And Gutierrez pounds it into the alley. One run is in. Julian is taking the turn. Junior will hold him with one out. Julian Gutierrez hitting for Mike Marasovic makes it 9-6, and here's Kearns. Now, Kearns' job here is, regardless of whether he gets a hit or an out, he's got to drive that run in. And I got to tell you, the way they're playing and how deep they are on the right side of the infield, if he hits a ground ball right at Joe Monza, the second base umpire, and line drive, and they can't make the catch, and Kearns will go into second, 9-7. So the second baseman, diving effort, he couldn't make the play. Ball slithered far enough for Kearns to go to second. He hit it to the right spot. It wasn't a ground ball. It was a sinking liner. And the second baseman laid out Brad Record. And here's Vito. He's in for Danny Dispenza. So Vito right here could make it a 9-8 ball game. And he crushes one, diving catch. Bazart robs Vito. That ball might have been. Kearns would have scored had it gone through. Now there's two out, and it's up to Justin. Diving catch by Bazart saved a run. So where that ball was heading, it would have been an easy score for Kearns. And here's Smykowski with Manzella on deck. And again, these guys are in this part of the order for a reason. And there he hits the ball, and that's going to be a base hit. Kearns will jog in, and Smykowski hits a double to right center, and now it's a 9-8 ball game. So Justin just reached out. 2 outs here for Manzella, tying run at second base.
Way to go, boy!
We showed you a game with the wind blowing in. It was 2-0. Now the wind's blowing out, and you can see the back and forth. And both teams' offenses kind of clicking. Wind picking up now in this at-bat. 2-1 here. Manzella in control of the count. And he hits a little roller to the shortstop, and he just held on to the bag. Looked like to me he was on there. Flash pushes a couple across, 9-8. So Vito got robbed there, or we would have had a tie game. 9-8 as we head now halfway through. Bottom of the fourth coming up. Both teams getting after it. So John Zawoski does, in fact, go to the mound, and Anthony Stacy, who's playing third, is going to go play first. Joe Piscitelli, who's been playing a good short center, going to move over to third. And Vito, a short center by trade, he missed Friday and Saturday, and Flashback was cruising along, so they didn't change the lineup. So, and Vito going to play short center now. And a lot of these major teams, especially in 16-inch, at the major level, their guys can play more than one position. And so 9-8, we got us a good one here.
Let's shut them down, boys. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, guys. Never hit.
So top of the lineup here, Josh Riley, Kyle Pearson, and Jason Matusik. And we've got our usual late afternoon wind increase here in the Chicagoland area. And it is a temperature-wise very nice. And that ball just crossed, just jumped in there. Again, first championship game at the 2024 SSA Gold Rush Gaming Men's 16-inch Major National Championship. Resmondo versus Flashback. And there's a strike. So Zoe's giving him a little bit of a different look, being a lefty. And the interesting thing is going to be, and that ball was a knuckleball, and Smykowski on the read makes the catch. So Moji was more of a up and down, and when I say up and down, his ball had a more traditional, pitch where it went up and it comes down, and he's got the knuckleball. Zawoski, lefty, tends to turn his wrist a little bit, and in this wind you might see the ball kind of drift inside a little bit to a right-handed hitter. So we'll see if he can control that and get the action he wants. And there's a strike. Kyle Pearson. And that ball's going to be just foul. I thought it was going to be fouled by a little bit more. Ryan Russ had him shaded toward the gap. He got close to it, but he couldn't get there. So 9-8, Flashback, despite falling behind a little bit in this game, has just been hanging around in it. Should be a very interesting final couple of innings here. So 1 out, nobody on. Bottom of the fourth here. And Zawoski heading that count there, giving Pearson a little different look. So now it's a full count. Pearson called time. Zawoski and Moji both worked pretty quick. And there's a fly ball. Smykowski going back. He stumbles a little bit, but he hung right with it. And we've seen a couple of outfielders out there stumble a little. Again, they cut the grass Friday, but we've had a lot of rain out here the last month. And the grasses everywhere are growing like weeds.
One more, boys. Then we're hitting. Let's go. Go get it, Chamber. Come on, Zoe. Not bad right through it. Come on, Zoe.
Well, I know one thing. And there's a sky-high pop-up. Vito makes the catch. Well, Lee, I don't know if I'd call it hating. I think if you're a 16-inch guy and you're passionate about the sport, of course you don't want to see a 12-inch team come in and run through a tournament. I mean, that's only logical. That would be like a 16-inch team going to the Worlds or whatever they call it and running through the tournament and beating up on 12-inch teams. 12-inch teams would, not be happy with that. So it's good back and forth, but I think if you talk to the Resmondo guys, they're going to tell you they're really enjoying themselves and that everybody here at the tournament has welcomed them. And we're certainly glad they're out here. And, they're talking about coming back if their schedule permits it, because they don't normally play on Labor Day. I guess the U-Trip does their stuff in October, and the other guys do their stuff in Labor Day. So, you know, they're really enjoying it, and we're glad they're here. I mean, it's good. Puts more attention on our game. So now we head to the top of the fifth in a 9-8 game. Joe Piscitelli, Joey Agardo, and Anthony Stacy. And Pish, again, getting that right field swing. He's gotten his biggest hits in these 2 games going to a different part of the field. We talk about how guys get stubborn. And that'll bring up Joey Agardo with Stacy on deck. And there's a little chopper, and that's an easy play over here for Pearson. So I'm not quite sure what the change in philosophy's been here for Flashback. But again, a little anxiety there as they jumped at a couple of pitches instead of settling into their at-bats there. Stacy just pumps his 3rd hit, and now he's going to try it, and he'll make it. So Stacy, you don't think of him as a speed merchant. Center fielder kind of came in, Corey Briggs, kind of ran with the ball for a few steps, and Stacy just kept going, and with 2 outs, they put the tying run in scoring position. So Anthony Stacy got it going here in this championship game. His 3rd hit brings up Ryan Russ. 2 outs now, base hit, could tie the ball game. And there's a ground ball, but right to Bazart, and he makes the play. He was trying to shoot the hole there, didn't quite get it to the hole. And Flashback with 2 outs, can't do nothing with the double. And we're going to the bottom of the 5th, still 9-8. Again, if you're Flashback, you just want to play defense and stay here.
We're not playing 2, guys. We're not playing 2. Let's go. Finish this up.
And there'll be Zawaski, Meyer, and I would think Julian Gutierrez will stay in the game as the extra hitter. So I'm going to grab something to drink, folks. I'll be right back.
Guys, come on. Where's your heads at? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Flash. 1, 2, 3, boys. Let's go. Then we're hitting.
And we're back.
Guys, 1, 2, 3. Then we're hitting. Let's go.
And you know, it's funny, the more you play a team and you get a feel for them, kind of changes, I think, in that championship game. There's a rocket, but right at Agardo. Phil Matt, it almost looked like Joey Agardo's glove was on a turnstile. As it started to spin on him, Joey's doing kind of duck and grab kind of a thing. Hey, this Phil Matt, he don't get cheated. And that brings up Bubba Mack. And, folks, that was a rocket. And there's a foul ball, I believe. Ryan Ross on a diving catch. Crossing the foul pole. Bubba Mack shaking his head, wanting to know where he came from. Ryan Ross, I don't know if it was going to be fair or foul because he was airball, but he made a spectacular catch. Ryan Ross. We saw that 2 years ago at Forest Park in the No Glove when Ryan was just absolutely spectacular that weekend. Kid's a human highlight reel. So 2 outs for Travis Clark. Travis been mixing it up. We saw him 3, 4, 5 at-bats in a row over several broadcasts trying to go up the middle. Now he's gone to right field a couple of times.
Here we go, Joe.
So Flashback with 2 outs here.
That's pretty.
And that pitch a little, there's a strike. Well, our goal, Pops, is to have these guys go to wherever they're going next. I know they're going to get a lot of questions about how was it. And so far the feedback we're getting from Resmondo is that they've been enjoying themselves. And there's a wicked line drive in. Smikowski read it and got there. So the Flashback Jackrabbits in the outfield, covering a lot of ground, will go to the top of the 6th, 9-8. Ryan Russ, let's see if Flashback gets a little juice. Ryan Russ, one of the nicest kids you're ever going to meet. And you know, it's interesting. He's a lot stronger than people think. And he's a lot faster than people think. But if you look at the Summer Series leaderboards on Game Changer, he's up near the top in triples. And you generally don't do that if you're a fat, slow guy. So 9-8 in the top of the 6th. It's going to be John Zawoski, Mike Myers, and Julian Gutierrez. Anybody gets on will be back to the top. So the more you play each other and you start to learn what the other guy does, the other thing that happens is win or lose, you start to accumulate that emotional baggage. Stover from Iowa, when they first started coming and playing 16-inch, we'll get to that in a second, they were all fired up. But at that time, the 45s were in the midst of one of the great 6-year runs in softball. And after losing to the 45 several years in a row, they had that negative mental baggage. And Zawoski robbed by Bubba Mack at third base. He laid out. Good ball, but Bubba was able to get the glove out there and make the catch. Brings up Mike Myers. Mike Myers, a little chopper. Bazart makes the play. Little sinker. Pearson stayed on the bag and made the play. 2 up, 2 down for Julian Gutierrez. Big hit his last time up as he split the gap in left center field. And I like it when Julian is patient and thinks hard. So Julian Gutierrez, 2 outs, nobody on here, top of the 6th. Takes a strike there. And there he hits a ground ball, backhanded play by Marshburn. 3 up, 3 down, we'll head to the bottom of the 6th. 9-8. If you're Flash, you got to hold him here. You'll have your top in the 7th. And if you're Flashback, you already lost to Spenza. And I'm sure they would like to finish this off, this game. And even though the fans would like to see a little free softball, you know that Flashback would just like to end this thing and be done with it. So for those that thought Resmondo would just tear through the tournament, they have lost a game and they're in a dogfight here. Now, Resmondo, first time playing 16-inch, they're learning every time they take the field, and there's no doubt they're extraordinarily talented.
Guys, 1, 2, 3, then we're hitting. Let's go.
So here we go, the right fielder, Buddy Wolf, then Tyler Marshburn and Corey Briggs. And if you're Flashback, you'd like to get a 3 up, 3 down so that you would have the bottom 2 hitters in the bottom of the 7th should you tie or take the lead before you get to the road graders. And there's a high fly ball. Smikowski's there. That'll be out number 1. So John Zawoski done a nice job since he come in. And again, sometimes a little different look can throw a team off, as they were hitting the ball pretty hard off of Mike Marasovic. They scored all 9 off of Moji. So here's Tyler Marshburn. A couple of hits in the game. So now they're going to change. They put Vito on the right field side a second. And he tries to go there, and that's trouble. And Marshburn's got his 3rd hit of the ball game. all to right field.
Great job.
So again, with the outfielders playing deep, I'm not sure Danny Dispenza, healthy, would have got to that. Brings up Corey Briggs, the center fielder. So little insurance standing on second base now for Resmondo, bottom of the sixth. And that's a long fly ball, and that is going to be fair. That ball just, they called it foul. I couldn't tell. That was close. Got Jeff Thielson over there. I thought it was a fair ball at first blush, but we're standing over here, no angle. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little punchy. It's been a long weekend. And that would have been big trouble. It would have been at least, I think, second or third. Briggs was running hard out of the box. He would have easily got to second on that. So big hitter here in the ball game. Resmondo, that pitch a little shy. Resmondo with one out here trying to get another run up there and get to the 10 mark.
Good, Mark. You're good. Nobody near you. You're good.
And there's a hard ground ball knocked down by Joey Agardo. He flipped it over to Vito, and Joey landed kind of hard. Now he's getting up soft. I think when he dove, it looks like his left knee might have come down hard on the turf. Now he got hurt out here last year and had to have surgery. He says he's okay, but he's hobbling. Jeff Hernandez is going to go talk to him. So it looked like he planted. He's telling Gibbs he's okay. Again, this is a national championship game. Great effort. It saved the run temporarily. Brad Record, if you're John Zawoski, if you could get him to lay it on the carpet, you might be able to spin and get out of this little jam here. Runners on the corner, one out.
Hey, let's turn one, number 8. Let's go, boys.
With Kevin Bazat on deck.
Good. Keep it a little bit. You're good. You're good. See release. Get your secondary.
So here's Reichert. Zawoski jumps ahead. Flashback looking for a double play ball. Resmondo looking for insurance. And there's a base hit, so they pick up insurance. Briggs will get to third. 10-8. So Record just took a little off his swing, dumped it into the right center, and here's Bazat. And he is a lefty, so if you're the Flashback infield, you want to know what you're doing with the rock. If you kind of fake to second, you're not going to get this kid at first. So you got to commit to whatever you're doing. And I think unless he hits it right at an infielder, a double play could be a problem in terms of being able to turn it. So Record is asking him, if I happen to get hit by a ball, what happens? And I think he was thinking in terms of if Bazar pulled the ball. I think he was thinking in terms of intentionally getting hit in order to, and there's a fly ball. That'll score another run. So Flash is going to need at least 3, and Record gets over to second. 2 outs now. So good job by Resmondo this inning, and that also gets him to Josh Riley. So 11-8, they pick up 2 big insurance runs to make it 3. So that's a good job there by Bazard. He understands the situation. He wasn't going to lay it on the carpet. He made sure he got a pitch up and just put the barrel and flip the fly ball into right field. 2 outs now, runner at second. Bottom of the 6th here, first championship game. We'll take a short break, and we'll start a new stream if it gets to that.
You're good. You're good. Nice. That's talking about. Let's go.
So Zawoski trying to put a Band-Aid on this and get out of here.
That's pretty. That was pretty. Let's go.
Right there. See release.
Back.
And And they tried the pickoff. If it was on target, they would have had an outside chance, but it was wide to the right field side. Again, there's no stealing, but that will count as one of the fakes. So I believe he faked and threw, so this has got to come straight to home plate here. And that's a good idea by Zawoski. Sometimes you need to reset yourself. You don't want to throw a meatball, so you just throw a ball. And that ball is a knuckleball, and Ryan Russ, it skips past him. This is going to be a 2-run homer. The ball had a lot of English on it. Ryan Russ got there. I'm not sure what they're asking for time, but it's 13-8 now. So they think that they missed a base, and we'll see if they take a run off the board or not. Last runner, they're talking about Riley, whether or not he hit second base. Out, so we're going to take a run off the board, and that'll end the inning. They're saying that Josh Riley missed second base, and that'll end the inning. So it's 12. Sorry, I put 14 up there. It's 12-8. So Flashback, do or die, top of the 7th. They need 4 runs to tie the ball game and extend it. 5 gives them a lead, anything less, and we will have free softball in Joliet. So Resmondo, I didn't see it. I might have had the camera on it, but from our angle, we're looking behind the runner, so I'm not sure what happened there. So if Resmondo gets 3 outs, it's a moot point. Top of the Flashback lineup. And I'm sure there's going to be a reconfiguration with Dispenza out for the day as we head into the championship game. And again, Flashback's done a good job. Wind blowing out, they've only given up 12, but they've only scored 8. Well, I think you guys are. Yeah. Yeah, that's the right score. See, it doesn't really matter there because 12-8. So the Resmondo guy, tell you, this Travis Clark's a riot. And there's a line drive, so Kearns, leadoff man on, and he'll cruise into second. Resmondo doesn't care about that runner, other than the fact that a double play might have been in order. And here's Vito. Got robbed by Bazat his last time up. So that's the part of the problem. I think everybody jumps to conclusions. Here we got the Patriots saying it looked like he missed the bag. Sometimes that happens, and the reason why that will happen, this is the first championship game. Resmondo needs to win twice. And Vito, trying to go big, flies out for out number 1. Flashback down to their last 2 here. Brings up Smykowski again. Looked like Vito was trying to dip and drive, or really hammer that ball. What he's got to be thinking is just base hit there, because there's Smykowski tries to go big. Long run for Buddy Wolf. He won't get there. I hope I got enough battery to do the championship game. That would be a shame if we get to the if game. So again, base runners. You need at least 2 to be dangerous here. And if you're flashback, you need to concentrate about just hitting something firm to a gap. Little roller over to the second baseman. Flashback down to their last out here. 12-8. And Flashback has had a couple of at-bats that really haven't been great. And they really slowed down since it was 9-8. And Manzella goes big, way back, and he short hops the fence. 1 run does score, and Manzella will jog to third. And they're certainly not going to send him, but Mike Manzella leaned on that. That ball almost got out of here. I think it bounced right before the fence. Nothing that the right fielder, Buddy Wolf, could do on that ball. And here's Joe Pish. They need 1 more hit to put the tie in the box. And Joe is looking back down this right field line, which he's been missing quite a bit. And his job is to get the game to Joey Agardo. And there he crushed, diving catch by Bazat. Looked like a base hit. We'll have free softball in Joliet. If game coming up, we'll start a new stream. Come on back. The game for all the marbles. It's like the 7th game of the Stanley Cup, 7th game of the World Series. There is no tomorrow as far as the 16-inch softball season is concerned, as we are going to have the rubber match here between Resmondo and Flashback. And Resmondo did what they had to. They threw a little leather late in that game, a couple of spectacular defensive plays, including the short center, Bazat, who ended the game robbing the hitter with a fantastic diving catch. So Flashback will be the visitor again. They did change their lineup due to the fact that Danny Dispenza got hurt. So in the lineup this game is Julian Gutierrez and Vito Iovino. So it's Kearns, Mykowski, Manzella, Piccatelli, Igardo, Stacy, Gutierrez, Iovino, Russ, Zawoski, Meyer, and Zawoski on the hill. So anything can happen in these if games. And little free softball here in Joliet, Illinois. I think the women's tournament might have been going to an if game too. They're still battling over there. And I think if you're either Flashback or Resmondo, you're still excited. If you're Flash, you can't worry about that loss. Again, that was house money for you. Well, Joe, I did see Jibbs kind of jogging a little bit. I think John Zawoski might be on a short leash in the sense that they don't want Resmondo to run out on him. And Brian Kearns stays hot as a firecracker. That's going to be an easy double leading off the game. So Brian Kearns leads off with a double. Smykowski has been moved up into the lineup. He's hitting 2. And I'd like to see Justin look for a little better pitch selection, as he's been golfing a lot of balls. I think he's a better hitter mid-thigh to. And there he hits a base hit. Bazart got fooled on the play, and Smykowski doubles. So Justin Smykowski opened up. Bazart looked like he leaned toward third base on that, and the ball rolled on the other side of him. Brings up Manzella. So Flashback, early 1-0 lead, nobody out. And that'll happen sometimes as an infielder. You get fooled by body language. And depending on what's going on with the barrel of the bat and that lead elbow, you can get fooled. So Manzella, nobody out here, third place hitter. Still got that cool breeze blowing out. And I think that might have been a strike there. And that ball, and he draws a walk. So the first three hitters have reached. Brings up Joe Piscitelli. And Mike Manzella been hitting it hard. And Travis Clark was very careful. He lost him.
Mike, don't get hit by a line.
So here's Joe Piscitelli. And let's see if Joe changes. There's the ball. See, now, Joe Monza's got a different strike zone.
Here we go. Come on, Pish.
And Joe is not the guy you want to pick on. So he's going to go over there and just kind of tell him, hey, let's not go down this road. This is so every umpire is a little different. Pat Morris, who did the if game, was allowing a little higher, deeper strike. Joe Monza's strike zone is a little tighter than that. And I don't know if you guys can hear Pearson over here, but he's a pretty funny dude. And Piscitelli drives a hit. Smykowski will score. Flashback jumps up 2-0. So Joe Pish looked at the biggest hole on the field and just punched it through there. And here's Joey Agardo. Still nobody out here, top of the first. And see, with Joe Monza, that pitch was outside anyway, but it was on the deep side. And there is a strike. That's about right with Joe's strike zone. Thing about Joe, he's pretty consistent. And Joey Agardo punches it through that hole. Manzella's going to score. Now they do throw it wide, and it almost gets away. Everybody's running around. Good decision by the catcher to eat it. So it did not look like the center fielder, Corey Briggs, was going to throw home. Then he changed his mind. 3-0, still nobody out. And here is Anthony Stacy. And Stacy goes toward the gap, and he dumps another hit in there. 2 runs are going to score. Stacy, another double. And Flashbacks come out on fire here. They lead 5-0. Still nobody out. And it brings up Gutierrez. So the 2 guys that hadn't been playing much, Gutierrez and Iovino, coming up back-to-back here. And now I'd like to see Julian try to pump something to right center to make sure he can get Anthony Stacy over to third. That's his job. And when I say I want to see him do it, I'm not rooting for Flashback. I'm neutral on the broadcast. But as a manager, that's what you want to see him do. And he's got pop that way. And he hits it. Clark, a nifty pickup. And again, that's a bad ball because even if Clark doesn't get it, Stacy's got to stay there to see if it goes through. So again, Julian needed to pull the ball there. And here comes Vito. Flashback up 5. And Vito hammers it, but right at the left fielder. And that is a perfect example. Julian did not pull the ball. He didn't get Stacy to third. And that would have been an easy 6th run there. And now it's up to Ryan Russ to try to clean it up here with 2 outs. Again, this is the if game. The 2024 SSA Gold Rush Gaming Men's 16-inch National Championship. Resmondo forcing the if game here. And there, he just got it toward the handle. Didn't quite get the barrel through. But Flashback throws up a fin. We go to the bottom of the fifth. So that's a good response. She lost the first championship game. And Flashback came out with a little fire in their belly and scored 5. But Flashback scored some runs early, and they did not keep it up in that last game. They did end up scoring. I believe they ended up losing that game, I want to say 12-10. But they had a little dead period in there. So here's Resmondo. These two teams putting on a show for us. And I think win or lose, either one of these teams would be worthy national champions.
Come on, boys. 1, 2, 3.
So the lineup is the same for Resmondo. Josh Riley, Kyle Pearson, and Jason Matuzik. A little different. Now, we'll see if they figured out John Zawoski on the hill is in that last inning of the last game. They did push a few runs across. So Riley using a clincher instead of a 12-inch bat. And I wonder if he's using it not so much to drive the ball, but to maybe slow his swing down to hit more line drives versus a lighter 16-inch bat. If I see him after the tournament, I may ask him that just to see what his thought process was. And there he hits a ground ball, and it skips past Piscitelli. Ryan Russ dropped the glove, but an easy double for Josh Riley hustling out the box. So that ball was a hot one-hopper. Pish put his hands down. The ball skipped right past him. He's been playing short center all weekend. And when you're a short center, you get a good long look at the ball versus third base. Pish is a little upset with himself. Thought he should have had it. And it brings up Kyle Pearson. And there's a ground ball, and he pounds it up the middle. Resmondo on the board, and a 5-1 ball game. So Flashback thought it was going to be easy. They got another thing coming. The one thing we've seen about Resmondo, good motors. And that's going to bring up Jason Matuzik. Wind feeling like it's slowed down just a hair. Still blowing, but it's more intermittent now. And there he tries to go the other way. Long run, if it's fair. Called it fair, and that was awful close. He laid out for it. Monza called it fair, and that was real close, right on the foul line. Anthony Stacy saying he dove, he landed on the line, but his arm was in foul territory. But Resmondo's pushed 2 across, and they got nobody out. And here's Phil Matt, who has just been pounding the ball all day. Even his outs have been loud. So John Zawoski here. And there's a line drive. Vito stays down. Another run will score. But that is the first out of the inning, 5-3 now. Base is empty. And that ball was smoked, too. Phil just didn't elevate it. Had a wicked short hop. Vito stayed down. He got in front of it. 1 out.
Let's go.
And I'm not sure if there's 2 outs here, but this is Bubba Mack. And Bubba snagged by Zawoski. And he makes the catch. And that ball was smoked up the middle. I think that's the second time Bubba Mack has hit a ball and had a pitcher rob him. And that brings up Travis Clark. They're playing Travis Clark on the right side of the infield. And he drives it out to Russ, who's there. So 5-3 at the end of one. Neither team getting cheated in the batter's box. Brings up Flashback. Should be Zawoski and Mike Myers, I believe. So I used to tell my guys, this is fun, and a word synonym for crap. I used to tell them, this is fun crap. You can substitute the correct word. And being a softball geek, you like to see two teams playing very well, butting heads. And a lot of cheering going on at the women's game. I think they got a bigger crowd than we do. So March, of course, they got some women the March team that finished fourth here in this tournament. A lot of their girls, family members, play 16-inch. So they're cheering their team on over there. We will have the trophy presentations. We might click off and start a new stream. Of course, we'll have some interviews after the game with the MVP, winning manager, and some other people. So here's John Zawoski. Good job there by Travis Clark. Zoe walked himself out of the swing there. Usually when you see a guy who's trying to get out there that quick, they're usually trying to cut something. The guys that drive aren't in that much of a hurry. And there's a little tapper over to Marshburn, and they get Zawoski for out number one. So here's Mike Myers, one down, nobody on.
That's terrible, man. Yeah.
21 the count. And Myers a little overhand cut swing and it drops. And now it's bobbled, so Myers will easily, now he falls down over there. So Josh Riley, an adventure over there. Mike Myers gets himself a one-out double. And they're back to their top here with Brian Kearns. Mike Myers has picked it up here in these two championship games. Now you got your top coming up, Kearns, Mikowski, and Manzella. Kearns thought he was going to swing. That ball just kind of died with the wind that's kind of reemerged here all of a sudden. And Kearns a little grounder. Nice play by Reckert. Myers does make it to third, but 2 outs now. Kearns trying to go into that hole, but beat it into the ground and brings up Smykowski. Manzella on deck. So Justin can get one of those 3 runs back here if he reaches safely on a batted ball. And we'll see if he pitches carefully, but Manzella's been hitting the ball well as well. I'm not sure what the question here is. So here's Smykowski, big spot. That ball's going to be just short. So he grabs a strike, I believe, there. There's strike one. Oh, that was a ball a little deep of the previous ball. See, I'm not a big fan of that. I think 3-1, when you're a good offensive player, if he throws you a meatball, I want my guy swinging. And there he goes the other way, but Briggs will get there. And that'll be the 3rd out. And that's what, so they failed to score the 1-out double by Myers. And we'll head to the bottom of the second, 5-3.
Big inning out there.
I think a lot of hitters, they get 3-1, and they figure he'll throw me a meatball 3-2, but he might throw you a strike that isn't really what you want to hit. So I always wanted my hitters, unless we were down, 4 or 5, but with the lead and a runner on third, if that pitch is good, you want him up there being aggressive. That's just my take on what I like my guys to do.
I thought so.
So Buddy Wolf going to lead off. Tyler Marshburn and Corey Briggs. And Tyler Marshburn has been a problem for Flashback today.
It's not an easy call, but that was an easy call.
Come on, buddy.
So here's Buddy Wolf. So we got an eerie silence here. And there's a line drive, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So Buddy Wolf here. Well, Jeremy, feel free not to watch the broadcast. So here's Buddy Wolf on first base. Brings up Tyler Marshburn, who has been a problem. And now he grounds it to Vito over to Joey, but Tyler beats it out without much of a problem. Nice job by Vito, though. Good communication. Shortstop let him. He was coming in. So 1 out now. Brings up the center fielder, Corey Briggs. So we had a lot of excitement so far in that first inning. And now we'll see Meyer to Vito in time for the double play. Bang, bang at first. Vito's got a strong arm. Nicely done by Myers. Perfect feed. And we'll head to the top of the third, 5-3. We'll see if they get a little juice out of it. So this has been a fantastic ball game thus far. We play 60-foot bases. So it's going to be Manzella, Piscitelli, and Igarto coming up here for Flashback. 3, 4, 5. 6-3 ball game here, or excuse me, 5-3 ball game.
Let's go.
Be nice, Joe. So we are in the if game here. Winner takes home the national championship. We're in the top of the third, Lee. So here's Mike Manzella. Mike's had a good approach throughout the tournament. He's not in a hurry, and he always seems to have some kind of a plan as to what he wants to do, and he tries to execute. And there he just hits a roller. Nice job by Bazart. That ball was very close to maybe skimming the bag. He stayed right with it. And I tell you, he's a good-looking short center, this kid. He's made some great plays this weekend. So that'll bring up Piscitelli. And there's a ball hit toward the gap. Briggs will track that down. So 2 up, 2 down here. And after that 8 runs in the first inning, the game is settling down here a little bit. So Joey Agardo with the red-hot Anthony Stacy on deck. That pitch is outside. So Travis Clark, he got the umpire to actually laugh there. Travis Clark was saying his arm was getting sore from all of the pitching he did in the home run contest yesterday. And there's a high fly ball that should do it for this top half of the third inning. We'll head to the bottom of the third, 5-3 here. So Flashback can't do anything that inning. And Resmondo coming up here. Again, Flashback came out hot in that first inning. Slowed down a little bit since. Resmondo had a good answer in the first. So coming up here, it's going to be Reichert, Bazat, and then Josh Riley. So we are going on 6:47 here in Joliet. And there's a high fly ball. Smikowski has a beat on it, out number one. So as we dig a little deeper into this ball game, pressure's going to start to build on both of these teams. For our viewer up in Canada, yeah, this is a nice complex. They actually got 6 fields out here. So that'll bring up Bazat. Takes that pitch a little deep, and they've tightened up on the left side here on him. 1-1 count there. Sawaski grabs a strike. And there's a pop-up. Agardo backtracks. 2 up, 2 down. Trying to just flip it over to the left side. Hit it up the shaft. And brings up Josh Riley.
Hey, Tish, right under your glove last time, buddy. Hey, positive. Got a pitch on video. Just throw it down and maybe not give him a double. Ray just called us. Just keep checking in the infield this time, buddy.
So, Danny Dispenza telling his pitcher, try to keep this guy in the infield. But there's a reason why Josh Riley's leading off, and that ball is hit down the line and fouled by about 2.5, 3 feet. Ryan Russ was trying to get there, had a long way to go, couldn't do it. Albie, go ask Tyler if they can turn the lights on. Yeah, the sun's starting to set out here. So here's Josh Riley. So here's Riley now. 2 outs, nobody on. We are in the bottom of the third. And that's a little deep. And there's a strike. 2-2 count now. And Zoe, a little different there. Didn't matter to Riley as he hammered it into the gap. They got to get this in quick. And Vito, throw to the plate. Safe. So solo homer. Vito, pretty good throw from pretty deep on the relay. Josh Riley, left fielder by trade, can run. Throw was just a hair up the line. Manzella had to try to sweep tag him. couldn't do it. Joe Monza looking right at it. And now we're 5-4 here in the bottom of the third. Nobody on. Brings up Kyle Pearson. That was just a line drive in the gap. It rolled all the way to the screen in left center. Pretty much at this level, most of the hitters, if they hit a ball like that, it ends up being a home run. Smykowski's got a gun, and so does Vito, but Pearson, quick as a hiccup, scored. And there's a high fly ball to the gap. Ryan Russ tracking it, and he makes the catch. So Resmondo pushes one across. They tighten the game up. 5-4. Flashback coming up here as we head to the top of the fourth. So it's going to be Anthony Stacy, Julian Gutierrez, and Vito Iovino. We talk all the time on the broadcast that you need the bottom part of your lineup to chip in. So you got a couple of new players in the lineup. Need them to chip in. Meyer has been chipping in, and Zawoski has also been productive. So big inning here, as we're not quite halfway through this if game. And, of course, we are live from Joliet at the Harlow Lockwood softball field complex. Flashback having a good time. They're doing the Pharaoh chant. Somewhere CC and Cliff are laughing. So they're still loose. They're not letting the pressure get to them. Even the Resmondo guys are laughing. Stacy, not this time. Tried to hit it. That time the shortstop, Marshburn, had moved back a few feet. Anthony didn't quite get it far enough out there. He had been throwing that ball more toward the gap. So lead man down, brings up Julian Gutierrez, and it is starting to get a little chilly out here as that sun sets. So these guys, third time they've played, first time it was pretty warm, or warmer. It was a little cooler in the first championship game, and now it's... And Julian Gutierrez gets one over Bazat. If Bazat would have made that catch. If Bazat would have made that catch, we really would have had something going on. And here's Vito. So Julian Gutierrez singles. And Vito, vicious line drive, and Briggs laid out and robs him in the gap. Second time he's been absolutely robbed. Vito can't believe it. He got robbed by Bazart, hit another rocket, and Briggs got there and made the catch. So they were saying he didn't re-tag. But he never went past the base, that's for sure. So if he was on the bag, came back, Corey Briggs, second time, he's made a diving catch today, made one against the 45s in that 2-0 win, and now the lights have finally come on. So 2 outs. Corey Briggs misses that. It would have been a 2-run homer. But he did not. So here's Ryan Russ, kind of walked himself out of his swing there. And there's a little cut job. Ryan Russ stays hot. And Ryan got interfered with, but the problem is Problem is there was a runner that stopped in front, so he would have never been able to be awarded another bag had Julian gone to third. And what you do there, kids, is if you see contact, look at the umpire. If he doesn't put his arm straight out, that means he didn't see it. If he did, then you can try to go to the next base. And so here's John Zawoski, and that's a little ground ball there, and a little fumble, and Julian Gutierrez is going to score. Reichert came in. It looked like a little harmless ground ball, and Reichert fumbled it. He tried to one-hand it, and Flashback picks up a run, 6-4. So Zawoski mishit that. They get the break. Here's Mike Myers. Top of the lineup on deck here. 2 out. Flashback, a little noise. Now the Pharaohs in the stands. Cece and the rest of their group watching the game now, and they're jumping on the Flashback bandwagon. Crazy stuff going on here at the 2024 SSA Gold Rush Gaming Men's 16-inch Major National Championship IF game. And Mike Myers, a little ground ball. Marshburn makes the play. 6-4 halfway through. So Ryan Russ kept that going. John Zawoski, again, it looked like Zoe was trying to punch it through a hole. He basically mishit the ball. Reichard charged it, and he reached down with a glove, never got his bare hand over, and he muffed it. Good running by Julian Gutierrez. He got to third, and when the ball slipped away, he went for it and scored. Well, Nathan, we're a little different. We don't make teams qualify. So we tell teams, if you know what you're getting into, in other words, if you're going to come to the major national championship tournament and you want to come, we're certainly open to the idea. Now, when we talk about our Class B or Class A, we're not going to let anybody who's a major team enter, and if we haven't seen you play, we're not going to classify you as an A or a B team. We're going to make you come and play major until we can actually look at you. So 6-4 halfway through this IF game. Here comes Jason Matuzek, Phil Matt, and Bubba Mack. So here's the home run champ from last night's contest. And he hits it in the air. That's going to stay in the park. Ryan Russell cruise over and make the play.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Never hit.
And that brings up Phil Matt.
Come on, never hit. Let's go.
Last time up, I believe he scalded one past the third baseman. Bubba Mack on deck. He's a very calm hitter. There's not a lot of noise in his setup. Very fast hands. And there he hits it. Smykowski tracking it, makes the catch. And he just got a smooth, effortless swing. I think to a certain extent, a lot of these Resmondo guys, they do tend to hit down on the ball. And that's good in 12-inch because it'll give you extra distance. But a lot of these hard line drives are hitting. They are carrying. No, it's not very soft, Blake. It's pretty firm out of the box. And there's a little chopper. Rigardo throws the glove away and makes the play. Joey Rigardo didn't want to deal with the mid again. He threw it off and made the play. And you can see there the ball was chopped, and he didn't want to worry about losing time. And the ball hit his hands, and he flicked it to first in a hurry. So Flashback So we head to the 5th, up a deuce. Well, the thing that's impressed me about Resmondo, sometimes when you're used to throwing a 12-inch and you start throwing a 16-inch, it's a little different release point and a little, different. And they've actually thrown the ball pretty well for the most part. And they're doing a really good job. I tell you, if they stick with this and they come back next year with a little experience, win or lose this game, I don't think anybody's necessarily going to want to run into them. So top of the Flashback lineup, looking for some cushion, leading by 2 here. That pitch is inside. Kern's a jackrabbit. You don't want to walk him. And there's a strike. Good job there by Travis Clark to jump back into the count here. Smikowski and Manzella waiting. And these have been an interesting 3 games. And there's another strike. And Kern's a little chopper to base at, and he makes the play. Yeah, he's played a real good short center this weekend. And I like his approach. He's popped a couple of balls up, trying to hit it, but he'll hit that little softball to third. Excuse me, folks, had a little mini sneeze there. And that'll bring up Smikowski. And I like Bazak's game quite a bit. He doesn't have the raw power some of these other guys get, but and Smikowski, the Marshburn. So Justin hit it hard. Didn't quite elevate it, and it brings up Manzella with Joe Piscitelli on deck. And I got to tip my hat to Resmondo. They came in here, and I know on the stream there have been 16-inch guys that want to criticize them, but they've been very classy the entire weekend. They're having a good time, and they decided to come out here and try something different, and they've been a joy to be around. And Manzella, and I told you this Tyler Marshburn has been a nightmare for Flash, throwing some leather and throwing a few hits in for good measure. So who knows, maybe Rolex and Faux Show might make the trip out here. So now we're going to head to the bottom of the 5th, still a 2-run ball game at 6-4. I'd be surprised if this was the final score. Well, I think Rawlings and Easton may be Resmondo sponsors. I'm not sure about that, but I hope if their sponsors are watching, there is a market for 16-inch bats. And if they want to give us a call here at the SSA, we'll get them a couple of bats that they can look at. And they don't got to make 10,000 of them, but I bet you if they made 1,000 bats, they would sell them. So here comes Resmondo. Hard grounder handled by Agardo, the throw in time. So Travis Clark grounds out for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Now you see that time the ball was hit up the middle, and it was hit pretty hard. Agardo knew he had a little more time, left the glove on. How can anybody not like Brady Fisher, my hitting protege? So here comes Buddy Wolf with that Tyler Marshburn on deck. And there's a ball hit out, and good read by Kearns. comes down and makes the catch. Yeah, I think so. I think, if you go to our tournament page where we have the live bracket and go to the home link, at the bottom there's a great article about the difference between hitting a 12-inch and hitting a 16-inch. The 12-inch bats, a lot of double walls and things like that. That don't play in 16-inch. And there's a little flare, and Kearns makes the catch. Brian Kearns got his glove on it. The ball popped up as he was rolling over and landed right on his chest. Brian Kearns. We head to the sixth. 6-4, both teams throwing the leather around. That was weird because Kearns had a look on his face. Oh, I got it. No, I don't got it. Yes, I do got it. As he rolled over on it, and the ball landed right on his chest. Now, when you're 62 like Gio, you got man boobs. It would have nestled in. It is getting a hoodie, or chilly. Fortunately, I left the hoodie in the car, Will. Of course, Will's been doing some broadcasting for us. So it's going to be Joe Piscitelli, Joey Agardo, and Anthony Stacy. Love to see good defense. And both teams are playing it, as this has been one of the tightest of the three games. National championship on the line. We're in this weird period. The lights are helping, but they haven't taken full effect. When they did the remodel, they put these LED lights in, and they're really nice because you don't ever really look into a light tower. So here's Joe Piscitelli, flashback, looking for a little space and room. Ball's a little flat. And as we get down to these last two innings, and there's a hard ball, nice stop by Reichert, throw to first, and they just nipped Piscitelli. Reichert got there, knocked it down, and I tell you, this Kyle Pearson over here has been saving a lot of errors, as he's been excellent all weekend. So here's Joey Agardo, wind picking up again. And Joey, a little cut shot, and it drops. And it gets past the left fielder, and Joey Agardo ends up on second. So Josh Riley got caught in between. He really didn't dive, and he really didn't pull up on it till the last second, and the ball just hopped past him. One out double for Anthony Stacy. Now let's check to see if Stacy moves that little overhand cut shot more toward the gap. Tried to go over to shortstop, but Marshburn made the play. And now he just goes right up the elevator shaft. This is going to be an easy catch for Buddy Wolf. Not sure what Anthony was trying to do there, unless he was trying to go big to the gap. As a hitter, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. That little overhand push cut balls was working for him. So now there's two out. Flashback in jeopardy of leaving that double out there. Julian Gutierrez. And there's a strike. And there's a little chopper the other way. Marshburn in time. Had a runner again cutting in front. And that'll be the third out. We're going to head to the bottom of the sixth. Still 6-4. Both teams here. I got to catch my breath, folks. We're in the bottom of the sixth here. So you see Jeff Hernandez talking to Anthony Stacy, telling him it was a bad pitch. Anthony's trying to tell him what he was doing, but Gibbs, it looks like, wants him to be a little more compact, load his hands, and get a little hip rotation. And now some of you might say, oh, Gibbs can't hit, but believe it or not, he's won a batting title at a major when he was younger.
1, 2, 3, boys, let's go.
So top of the lineup here, Josh Riley, Kyle Pearson, and Justin Matuzak. You got the right attitude, Blake. So here we go, top of the lineup. And there's a line drive base hit. And Smikowski gets it in. So leadoff man on. And now the road graders are going to start lining up on the runway. Well, not that there's anything wrong with that, but just not my flavor. So I'm sorry, that was Briggs, Corey Briggs, who got the hit. I thought I inadvertently said Josh Riley. He's Brad Record. And there's a little flare over the shortstop. Ryan Russ, strong throw, first and second. So a little something brewing here for Resmondo in the bottom of the sixth. Again, we talk about the bottom of the lineup chipping in, and Briggs and Record have. And that's going to bring up Bazat. If you're Bazat now, what you want to do is make sure you move these two runners at a minimum. And I'm not sure if that's in Resmondo's necessarily DNA, but the game's getting a little late. I don't think he's going to try to slap and run here because you'd have the fielder's choice at third base. I think if you're Bazat, you want to move him. The one thing you don't want to do is hit into a double play, but being a lefty, that would be tough. And he tries to reach out, and he delivers. One run's going to score, and now Smikowski fumbles it, and that allows Bazart to get to second. So the inning has not started well here for Flashback. Oops, put it on the wrong side there. 6-5, nobody out. So here in the bottom of the sixth, Resmondo's in a good position here. Nobody out. Couple of fly balls here, and you're going to be leading the game heading into the seventh. What you don't want to do if you're Resmondo is you don't want to hit a line drive. So the bottom of the Resmondo lineup coming up big here in the bottom of the sixth. And there's a strike. If you're Flash, you're looking for maybe a line drive right at an infielder. And there's a fly ball. It's going to score at least one. Ryan Ross going to throw it to third, but we're all tied up at 6. And there's still only one out, so they've pushed 2 across. Riley hit it far enough, but not far enough for Bazat to get to third. Brings up Pearson with Matuzak online, and Gibbs going to go out. I'm not sure if Gibbs would walk Pearson and maybe hope they could get Matuzak to hit into a double play, but that's playing with fire. If Matuzak airmails one into an alley, you're giving them another run. So let's see what Flashback wants to do. And a lot of times when you go out there, you're just asking the pitcher who he has a better feel for. I haven't seen a indication that they might want to walk somebody. And I did not notice, but Danny Lawler is catching. And I think they do walk Pearson. I think they might have brought Denny in. They might feel that he's more apt to catch and tag a guy.
Hey, where'd you play that, guys? Where'd you play?
So that might have been a defensive move there. Tie game, bottom of the 6th, 6-6 in the 6th. Got a little symmetry. For how long, we don't know. So here's Jason Matuzak. Flashback looking for a ground ball double play. Only one out. High fly ball, that's trouble. He did airmail one out of the park. Justin Matuzak, 3-run homer into left center field. And now they're saying he passed him. And the Flashback guys are saying that the runner passed the lead runner, and the umpires are going to talk about it. You can't pass a base runner. The umpire might be saying that the ball was over the fence, but the rule is you can't pass a lead runner. Just like if you hit a home run and you don't touch home plate, you can still get an out. So they've exploded for 5 here in the bottom of the 6th. It all started with the bottom 3 hitters in the lineup. And that's the one issue. You had Matusek. It's his 2nd home run over a fence this weekend. Again, this is not 12-inch. You have to run the bases. 12-inch, when you hit a home run, they just walk off the field. So they're going to have a little question. Pearson is a good hitter. I know they didn't have a double play there. But, again, hindsight is 20/20, but Pearson, if he gets a hit, only leads 1 run in, and then you could have walked Matuzak, taking your chances with Matt, and John Zawoski just left one up in his joy zone, and he absolutely hammered that ball into left center. So Flashback came in leading 6-4, 5 quick runs, and now they put a ball in. As that ball ain't coming back, it was hit into left center where all them trees are to the right of that lamppost. Flashback was cruising along here until the bottom of the 6th. And that's going to bring up Phil Matt. Still only 1 out. If you're Flashback, your job now is to put the Band-Aid on it and get out of here with just a 3-run deficit. Again, Flash 5 in the 1st. They've only scored 1 since. So at the end of the day, if the score holds, diving stop by Iggy from his side can't make the play.
We got no 2 guys in big. If you got a problem with someone over there, go tell them. Don't tell me.
So I don't know what that was all about. Here comes Bubba Mack. If you're a Flashback, you need to get out of here. High fly ball. Kearns makes a hard-running catch. Matt will tag and go. 2 outs in the inning. And it brings up Travis Clark. So again, at the end of the day, Resmondo's only got 9. And if you're a Flashback, you're going to look back and wonder, how did we score 5 and then only 1 the rest of the game? They still have the 7th. So big hitter here, Travis Clark. And Travis Clark, a hard line drive. They score another run. Travis is going to try to go to second, and he'll make it. 10-6. 6-run inning here in the bottom of the 6th. And here comes Buddy Wolf. So Resmondo was pretty quiet for the first 5 innings. They only had 4. But they exploded here. The big ball, the 3-run homer by Jason Matuzek. And now Kearns will go back and make that catch. So Flashback, do or die 7th. They trail by 4 coming up here in the 7th. So we're back, folks. Hope the microphone's working. Somebody could give me a sound check on that. Microphone working, folks? Somebody give me a sound check. Okay, let's go. Bottom of the top of the 7th. It's going to be Vito, Ryan Russ, John Zawoski, bottom quarter here of the lineup. We saw Resmondo's bottom get on, and Vito slashes it, lead off. He's going to try to stretch it, and they'll make it. So Vito, after getting robbed a couple of times, leads off. Brings up Ryan Russ, and if you're Flashback, you need to get to your top, because that'll mean you're still alive and still in the ball game. National championship on the line here. Resmondo, 3 defensive outs away. Of course, they got the hammer, so they will get an opportunity, even if the game is tied or Flashback takes a lead. Ryan Russ being very patient. Zawoski on deck. And Ryan Russ muscles it into center. Vito's just going to jog to third. He doesn't mean anything. First 2 hitters on here. Brings up John Zawoski. So Zo's job is just to get a hit. It would bring up Mike Myers and get you a little closer to your top. So that last 10th run that Resmondo scored was huge after the 3-run homer. So Zoe working the count, and he draws the walk, and the bases are loaded. Now the tie is in the box for Mike Myers, and they're going to pinch run for John Zawoski. Looks like Steph McLaren is going to come in and pinch run. Mike Myers trying to get a base hit here and get to the top. He's not looking to advance anybody. So if you're Mike Myers, if you're a base runner now, you got to be careful, because Marshburn and Bazat have been robbing line drives all day. Home plate jumping around a little bit on Clark. And Mike Myers toward a gap. Briggs makes the catch. 1 run will score. But that is the first out of the inning. Makes it 10-7. Nice jump by Briggs in center as he got to a little sinking line drive, and now they're at their top with 1 out. Kearns, Smykowski, and Manzella lined up on the runway. Outside. And Kearns the other way, and that ball caught on a sliding. Whoa, it fell out. So, second base umpire said he caught it, and he was trying to pull it out of the glove. That ball came out awful late. No argument from Resmondo. Flashback down to their last out. Justin Smykowski standing between Resmondo and a national championship. If you're Justin, you can't be too anxious here. You got a good hitter in Manzella behind you. You don't need to do this on your own. And there's a little grounder. Bazat and Resmondo trailing most of the game. They score 6 in the bottom of the 6th. They make it stand up. They win the national championship 10-7. Hard-fought game. So we're going to take some pictures. We'll be back live for all of the award presentation. Resmondo wasn't easy. They did find a way. The big blow Jason Matuzak's 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 6th. And there he is right there in the center of your picture. So we're going to click off. We're going to take a couple of pictures, and we'll be back in a little bit. Tremendous games.